Hi guys, welcome back to Chris Cowlin's channel for the live Premier League watch-along of Tottenham Hotspur versus Liverpool. Not Liverpool versus Tottenham Hotspur, that would be at Anfield. And that would be even more frightening than the fear that comes with the top-of-the-table team with their, frankly, slightly ruthless attacking options coming to the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium for this huge match. It's been a good week for Spurs so far, decimating Southampton 5-0, and then, of course, turning over Man United in a humdinger 4-3 in the week to get through to the semi-finals of the Carabao Cup. I have to say, a result that now looks, well, a little more akin to a side with 10 first-team players out after Bournemouth went to Old Trafford today and turned United over 3-0. Anyway, I'll get more into that kind of stuff a bit later. We are live on YouTube, Facebook, X, and Twitch. Do get involved. Get in the comments, guys. I love to get in the comments with you guys. Q&As, whatever it is. I'll answer some of your comments before the match and in a big way at half-time, of course. And after the game as well. Just in terms of the itinerary for these watch-alongs, if you haven't watched before, please do give this video a like on YouTube. Please do subscribe to Chris Cowlin's channel if you haven't already. It's at Chris Cowlin. And also give me a little subscribe as well at Barnaby Slater _ for daily Tottenham Hotspur content. But really, it's Chris Cowlin who brings so much Tottenham content to you. And he will be back here, actually, after the game at about 7:30 with the usual Spurs Chat podcast today, alongside Ricky Norwood, Darren Altman, and Holly Agomba. And Chris is at the game today, and he will be putting up videos throughout of things like chants from within the crowd and maybe some on-pitch stuff as well. Also, Chris and the Spurs Chat podcast have been nominated as finalists at the Sports Podcast Awards 2025 in the category of Best Team Podcast. You can vote for the Spurs Chat podcast by clicking on the link that is in the description box below. Your sport's really appreciated. The closing date for voting is the 13th of January, and the winner is announced on the 30th of January. Give the Spurs Chat podcast a vote. Okay, let's get into the team news for today's game. Like I said, it's huge, and I just watched Ange Postecoglou's pre-match interview on Super Sunday, and he was asked, "Do you think this is going to be another kind of crazy game with lots of goals?" And he said, "Fair chance, mate. Fair chance." So he has, as a result, or not as a result, but maybe to give that kind of result, picked the exact same team that he picked on Thursday night. So the team is Forster, Porro, Spence, Dragoshin and Gray at the back, Bissouma, Sarr and Maddison in midfield, with Sonny, Solanke up front and Deki Kulusevski staying out wide on the right. On the bench, Austin, Reguilon, Udogi, Dorrington, Bergvall, Olusesi, Werner, Johnson and Will Lancashire. The Liverpool team, Alisson, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Joe Gomez, Virgil van Dijk and Andy Robertson, Gravenberch, McAllister, and Diaz and Szoboszlai, with Salah and Cody Gakpo starting up front. So listen, to say it's going to be a difficult game, listen, it goes without saying it's going to be a difficult game, but Tottenham have turned over a number of teams that we were expected to lose to this season. And Gary Neville did an interview earlier on, I saw it on social media for Sky Sports, and he said, "I can only see one result today." And from my opinion, from where I'm sitting, from where I watch these games, every time that people say that and people expect Spurs to get turned over easily in these games, we do the opposite. So I'm not suggesting that I think we're going to make this is going to be easy or an easy watch or an easy game, but could we surprise some people? Could we, put the cat among the pigeons in terms of the title race? Yes, maybe we could. And one thing that I think is going in our favor is, I don't know what you think, and let me know what you think in the comments, but it feels a bit like a free hit. As the other teams around us, yes, they've had good results this weekend, those other teams around us, by which I mean the teams that I feel like we have to kind of hang on the coattails of while we've got these injuries to try and stay there and thereabouts for the European places. But nobody is expecting anything from us in this game. And therefore, I think it's a little bit of a free hit. And maybe we can just surprise one or two people. Have to, of course, talk about Fraser Forster. I got a text from a friend of mine who supports Newcastle when he saw the team announced, said, "Oh, Forster's playing again. Why?" It's like people don't even realize. Vicari's out till something like March. Got 10 first-team players out. It's going to be incredibly, difficult for Fraser Forster today. He is going to be short on confidence after what happened. Are Liverpool going to press him? Absolutely. They're going to make it difficult in exactly the same way that Højlund made it difficult for Fraser Forster in the first half against Manchester United. He cut off the pass to Dragusin every single time when Forster had it. And I think by the second half, that ended up getting in Forster's head a little bit, and he was forced to play passes he didn't want to play. But Ange won't be telling him to hit it long. He was hitting it long a little bit in the second half, and I have to say, when he hit it long in the second half against Man United, we lost the ball every single time, and United kept coming at us in that last half an hour. It was like the Alamo. So he can't just be doing that. He has to pick out passes. And for me, and I've said this on a video on my own channel this week, he has to stay as confident as he can, but also it's up to his defenders and those around him to give him better passes. It really is. Bissouma, Archie Gray, they have to give him options, better options. And you saw probably, I'm sure, on social media at the end of the game on Thursday, Archie Gray apologizing to Fraser Forster, Son Heung-min talking very assertively to Archie Gray, kind of probably explaining to him to give him a ball, to give Fraser Forster a ball on his own goal line is not something he needs. So that is what I think about that. Mace106 says in the comments, Liverpool always seem to get a result against us, would be happy with a point. Dave Allen says, come on, you Spurs, believe. And relevantly to what I want to talk about next, Clement says, Levy out. And I want to talk a bit about the protests. There was a protest organized for this outside the stadium before the game at 3:00. I saw some social media pictures and videos of it around 3:20 and 3:40. And I have to say, for me, not much to it. Not much to it. I don't want to talk about it too much, but, I've spoken a little bit about these protests. And I think, everyone's allowed their opinion. Everyone's allowed their opinion. But if you're going to protest, I think it has to be supremely well organized. And it has to be a big deal. Otherwise, people are just going to think it's a damp squib. Anyway. More importantly, on the pitch, Jed Spence starts again ahead of Udogie. All the talk coming out of the camp is that Udogie isn't quite 100% yet. And I think Jed Spence's form means he deserves to have another go, another start, sorry. And I think it's good for Udogie to get a longer rest than maybe he otherwise would have done. And good that we're not bringing him back too soon. Also, a huge game for me for Yves Bissouma. He did okay against Man United. As ever, he did the hard stuff incredibly well, and then just lost his concentration a few times. And I know it sounds like a bit of a cliche. I say the same things every time, but this is a huge game and he needs to be on it 110% for the entire match. Otherwise, trouble will come our way. Liverpool, of course, will have the bit between their teeth. In this game last season, they lost with it was one of those games in the first 10 games of the season when Spurs were, in incredible form, 8 wins, 2 draws, and they had Curtis Jones sent off, which they didn't think was a sending off. And of course, they had the VAR goal that should have been disallowed that wasn't. So they'll have the bit between their teeth. They've also got an opportunity to kind of extend their lead at the top over Chelsea after Chelsea got only a 0-0 draw at Everton today. So Liverpool will be up for it, and they've got a good side there. I didn't realize with Andy Robertson having been sent off last week, he must have had that overturned, because he's playing today, not suspended. Let me know in the comments why that would be. Peck20, in the comments saying, really enjoying Jed's performances. Also says we might do them. Sean says they'll target Porro. Well, one thing I was going to say is they have so much talent on the wide forward line, don't they? Depending on whether Diaz will play false 9 or Gakpo will play false 9, either way, very talented in the wide forwards. And Spurs, of course, as I talked about a lot all season, do not defend their back post very well in terms of the switches of balls and crosses. And so that is something that I think, Liverpool will be trying to take advantage of. Ange came out, didn't he? Just the players are on the pitch, by the way. They're all hugging each other. It's just about to kick off. And just talked about this week, kind of deserving a bit more respect for he's achieved in football. And, I think a big game after him calling for stuff like that might suit him. Actually, I think what he's talking about a little bit is kind of the Gary Neville, Jamie Carragher, Jamie Redknapp, Sky Sports anti-Ange narrative. Them saying, you can't play the same way every single game. You've got to sit back and all of this kind of stuff. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments. But I don't think they even watch a lot of the games. Spurs have been tweaking for every game this season, and we've played mid-block sometimes and hit teams on the break. That's what we've done very successfully against the likes of Man City and Aston Villa, and I'm sure there'll be a lot of that today as well. As as Liverpool will have a lot of possession and try and get control of this game, but they'll be keen to play on the break as well with their quick forwards. The drone shot over the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium is there, and Spurs are going to kick off. As any of you who watch this regularly will know, I'll be interested to see what happens with the clock today. I've been told that after 40 seconds, oh, there you go. So I'm on a bit of about a 40-second delay on the clock, so I will just level that up with where I'm at. Let's have a look. Spurs in down the left early with a Son, with a cross. Oh, I'll tell you what, that's a chance for Solanke at the near post. Wow. And he was offside anyway. I'm just going to level it up with the time. Okay. Okay, I've leveled it up with where I am. Sorry for those of you. So I'm going to be on a little bit of a delay, so I won't be in the comments that much in the first half, but please do get your comments in as Liverpool break through, and a very good interception there from Archie Gray, actually. But I will be in the comments at halftime. So yeah, that was a good little start from Spurs in the first minute. Had a chance at the near post. It was offside. And this is Fraser Forster's first goal kick. And Liverpool, it's only Salah, really. They're not actually pressing Dragushin off the goal kick here. So that will please Fraser Forster, I'm sure. So he plays it down the line to Porro, who loses the ball first time. And Liverpool now in the middle with Salah, who tries to pop through. Oh, and it's good play from Liverpool. Basuma did well. Basuma did well, and then it was cleared second time, I think maybe by Dragushin. Good bodies in the line there, in the way from Spurs. But that was the first time Spurs tried to play it out from the goal kick, and Porro had the ball nicked away from him. And Van Dijk now plays one over the top, and that goes all the way over Spence and out for a goal kick. Once again, guys, please do give this video a like on YouTube or wherever you're watching this. Also, do press subscribe to Chris's YouTube channel. Dragushin has the ball now at Chris Callan. He gives the ball a bit of a dodgy one back to Forster, who chips it straight to Salah. Oh, my God. Wow. Wow. That was mortifying. Forster chipped it straight to Salah, who has a shot and luckily hits it wide. Wow, that would have been horrifying. That would have been absolutely horrifying because he chipped it to him inside the box. And Gary Neville saying you have to laugh. It was really the first thing that Forster's tried to do, and I'm not sure he should be trying to chip it, to be honest. Deary, deary me. Liverpool have started this game well, popping it about nicely. But Solanke helps out in midfield there into Kulusevski, turns his man beautifully. And Joe Gomez just sweeps up in behind. That was a devastating moment there. And Liverpool playing the long balls early doors leaves Salah up against Spence here. Spence is going to need help. He gives it to Archie Gray, who's in trouble as well. And Gray is good. And that should be a foul to Spurs. That was a high boot, but no. And Trent's taken a throw quickly, and Dragushin has to clear. Liverpool really got a high tempo to this start here. Trent's going with an early cross here to the back post, and Spurs are not marking that back post as ever. It comes to Gakpo. And now Robertson gets an early cross in. I know Liverpool slot have seen that Spurs are really not great against crosses, and Diaz has a dig, and it goes wide. Deary me, Liverpool started this high tempo. Come on, Spurs have to see out this first few minutes here. Usually at the Tottenham Stadium, it's Spurs who are hitting teams early. Archie Gray now on his own goal line almost, gives it to Dragushin, who has to give it to Porro, who hasn't got much space, and he goes long, and that's not a bad idea. And actually, Solanke was nearly in behind Van Dijk, but Van Dijk did beautifully. Turns it away. Now Liverpool being pressed in their own goal, in their own half, and Alisson having to go a little bit mid-range as well. Into Szoboszlai, who had Basuma on his back, and here's Trent now coming across his own box and plays a left-footed pass. And actually Dragushin cuts that out, but maybe Dragushin could have done a bit better there. And now Liverpool are 3-on-4 against Spurs with Gakpo driving at Spurs, and it's in down the left-hand side. Robertson with the cross, but it's blocked out by Porro for a corner in quite an uncomfortable place for Porro. He's just on his haunches there. Liverpool so dangerous on the transition, but it's a good block from Porro there for a corner. Now Spurs need to stay strong here. First 5 minutes, as the fans try to get behind Spurs, you'd have to say first 5 minutes has been all Liverpool. Van Dijk being marked man-to-man by Dragusin. I would have thought Dragusin would be a bit tighter on him. Want to get some physical touch on him here because he's around about the penalty spot and he'll make a move on him. He's now trying to get his hand on him. He gets to the near post, Dragusin. Oh, and it comes all the way over, and it's Solanke at the near post who ends up getting it away a bit awkwardly. Comes out to McAllister. And again, Liverpool with another first-time cross, but it goes over everybody and out for a goal kick. And Tottenham take it early to Jed Spence. Has a little bit of space, but goes back to Archie Gray. Bissouma's on, and there's Bissouma, and he'll have Spence with him. And now Maddison needs to give him an option, but he doesn't. And Spence goes back to Gray, who has to go long down the line towards Son. Maddison getting involved for the first time. That could have been a handball against Maddison there, but it's not. And Trent tries a through ball, but it comes to Dragusin, who does a little Cruyff turn there, and that shows some confidence from Drag. Now give it easy, Radu. Doesn't. He goes over the top, and maybe he shouldn't because Trent is there. But the second ball is Maddison's, and he does well. Gets his body in the way, knows that he's going to feel the touch, and wins a free kick. And that's what Maddison's really excellent at. He suckered in Gravenberch there, and that's good football. 6 minutes gone now. And Maddison plays it short to Bissouma, who immediately sets the ball backwards, which will not please Ange Postecoglou as it comes to Archie Gray. Plays it across to Dragusin. Needs an option. Finds it with Deki Kulusevski on the right touchline. He's got Robertson all over him. Oh, good football from Spurs, getting out of a tight area. And Bissouma turns away as well and gives it into Porro, who plays a first-time ball to Sonny, and it's a good ball. And Sonny keeps it on wide left just. And now he's driving. Spence makes a good run for him. He doesn't go for him. And in the end, Sonny tries a really high percentage ball through the legs and doesn't get it. And Bissouma helps him out and slides in and gives it to Dragusin, who goes to Archie Gray. And this will probably end up with Forster, I would have thought. You can tell that Gray does not want to go back to Forster, but he goes to Dragusin, and then Dragusin goes to Forster. And now Liverpool just squeezing Forster. And this time he dinks the ball over to Spence, and that was far more successful. 7th minute, Spence with a lot of space. Maddison's given him a little run down the line. Solanke comes short, gives it back to Spence. Solanke slips. Oh, and Spence tried to take on his man there, but he's beaten. But Bissouma picks it up and goes back to Archie Gray. The game's settling down a little bit now. Radu Dragusin. Pape Matar makes a run for him, and McAllister, I think it is, following him. Oh, and Forster plays another ball over the top of Salah to Spence, and Spence has got space to drive. And here he goes, Jed Spence. Cuts inside. Does well. Finds Maddison. He's going to need to get a foul here if he's not careful. And actually keeps the ball. He was fouled, but ref plays play on. And Sarr finds Deki Kulusevski. Deki Kulusevski's got a lot of space on the right. And he's driving. And he goes down the line. And Kakpo doesn't want to go with him. And that goes over the top of the keeper. And comes out to Madders, who finds Son on the left-hand side of the box here. Fronting up Trent. Does well. Madders is with him. And then a bit of a difficult ball to Madders, who's pushed over there. And a goal kick is given, and that's ridiculous. If that was the other way, Maddison's on the touchline there. If that was the other way and it was the fullback, it would be a free kick. But because Trent Alexander-Arnold has pushed Maddison in the back, he gives a goal kick. Joke. Just a joke. Referees, man. Anyway, Liverpool trying to play through the press here. Gomez goes long and comes up to Salah, who had Archie Gray on his back, but Bissouma helps him out. And now Jed Spence using his body strength, but Szoboszlai does well. And I should say, Arne Slot did say in his pre-match interview, he was asked about playing through the press, and he said, yeah, playing through it or over it. And Liverpool have already played a few mid-range balls trying to find a run over the top of the Tottenham defence. And they'll try diags as well, big diagonals and long balls, because like I said, Spurs not great at covering their back post. Oh, Arnold has played an unbelievable pass, and it's a good save and a great block. Alexander-Arnold played an unbelievable pass that nobody else could really play, just over the corner of the box. And Salah has made a run, which is beautiful, behind Archie Gray, who's lost him. And he would have been offside anyway. But the ball comes into actually Forster's 6-yard box. And the second one is a brilliant block from a follow-up shot from Sarr. Liverpool playing well again now. They're in at the left. Oh, big chance for Diaz here. Well blocked here, though, from Basuma. And Spurs trying to counter here, and that's a foul. Well done, Solanke. Just one positive about that chance that just came to Salah is that it looked really like, oh, and Forster's going to go for the big long ball over the top here. And nobody for Spurs was really ready, but Gomez has to clear it. And who's going to get the second ball? Solanke tries to do well, but Van Dijk just nicks in and actually comes through. And Van Dijk plays a ball first time over. And this is where Spence's speed is already helping him out against Salah. And he does well, Jed Spence, really well. And the fans give him a huge round of applause. He gives it to Archie Gray, who gives it to Dragusin. Just going to say that chance for Salah, the Spurs backline did really well, kind of keeping it on their keeping their line on their 18-yard box. So Pape Matar runs away from his man there, and that's good. Oh, and he thought that Solanke might be through, but in the end, Alisson clears it down the line. And Porro lets it drop, and he shouldn't. He just gives it out for a throw-in. Yeah, so good defensive line on the 18-yard box. On the edge of it, would have seen, I think, Salah offside if he'd managed to score the volley anyway. But it was a beautiful pass from Trent Alexander-Arnold. Just the talent on show for Liverpool is quite incredible. You've got to give credit to Liverpool's recruitment team and Jurgen Klopp for the young players they've got in the last few years. Well done, Ibasuma. Nicks in ahead in midfield there and wins the ball back for Spurs. And unfortunately, we go backwards straight away and put ourselves under pressure. Dragusin here, being put under pressure and has to go to Forster, who's going to have to go long first time and does. And I'm glad he does. And Kulusevski challenging for this. Uses his body really well here, Decky. But it's just beaten to it by Robertson. Bissouma does, again, brilliantly in central midfield. Oh, and the ref's given a foul. And I really don't think it is. "12 minutes gone. I'm just talking about the referee. He's called Samuel Barrett, apparently. And there we go with the free kick. Liverpool going for the big old diag straight away to Trent, who tries to play it first time, but Archie Gray sees it, gives it to Jed Spence, who's got the ball stuck under his feet a little bit there. And then Gray finds a beautiful left-footed ball down the line to Madders, who finds Sonny, and his first touch is great. That was brilliant from Jed Spence there, from Archie Gray there, sorry. Pape Matar, yeah, he didn't have room in midfield to do that, and he lost it, trying to pass it into Madders to Trent. Trent turns away from him and plays a good ball down the line into Gravenberch, who straight away goes for the big crossfield ball, and Gakpo is free. And they know that this is how it is, and they try to dink it over the top of Spence, but Spence uses his body beautifully not to let Salah get that. Spence has started this game really well. Bissouma out to Dragusin. Seems like Liverpool kind of quite happy to let the centre-backs have it. And then, I'll tell you what, Decky Kulusevski is in behind here. And the lines hasn't got his flag up. And Van Dijk's there. So if we can get a cross in here, he's gone back to Sarr, who just slows it down a little bit. And that's a shame because Van Dijk was out of position. And Bissouma has done what Bissouma does and just played a really horrible ball. And now Liverpool are on the transition. Thankfully, we've been able to slow it down just inside their half. But that's a shame from Bissouma because he didn't have to do anything paradisey there, and he just gave it straight to Liverpool. Gomez now. Solanke pressing Van Dijk as ever, but he's on his own with the press there, which kind of makes it a little bit null and void. Gomez now. Spurs have a box of players around kind of McAllister and Gravenberch trying to stop the balls going into them. Gomez out to Trent. I'll tell you what, plays a dangerous ball across to, and Van Dijk does get there, but it gave Solanke a little sniff. He thought he might be able to cut that out. Jed Spence now chasing the ball over to where Szoboszlai is. And here goes Trent with the big, long diag over the top of Porro, who got pushed in his back by Diaz, and he's lost the battle there, Porro. Here's a big chance on the edge of the box, and it's over the bar. It's from Gakpo. They're showing a replay, but I can hear from the crowd that maybe Spurs have lost the ball already. No, they haven't. They've gone long again over to Kulusevski, and this is on at the moment. This Kulusevski ball over the top. He's got in twice. He's up against Robertson, coming towards the box now. Decky. He's going to fancy a shot. Oh, and he nearly got tripped up there, but he goes back to Sarr, who will have a shot with his left foot. Just wide. Good effort, Pap Sarr. So many chances in this game already. And Sarr, the ball just came to his left foot, and he slightly cuts across it, is what I'm trying to say, and ends up kind of slicing it slightly wide. Please do get your comments into the comments, guys. Please do get any questions you got or thoughts into the comments. We'll have a big chat about them all at half-time, of course. Spurs have the ball back now in their own half. Dragoshin turns away and gives it down the line. And again, Spurs trying to play through that kind of Kulusevski-Solanke angle. But now Liverpool have the ball through, and Basuma and Sarr ahead of the ball here. And that's good. Sarr just got his body in the right place as Liverpool play it out wide again to Gakpo. And this is where the danger is. They're going to get the crosses in as they line four players, in fact, on the 18-yard lines trying to get... This time Gakpo gets to the byline. Big chance. Another good block from Jed Spence. A second block from Jed Spence. From Salah shot. Wow, really good from Spence, but Salah at the back post had too much time. And now Sonny opening his legs down the left. And Joe Gomez deals with it. First block with Spence's foot. Second with his head. Or with his arm almost. But good stuff from Jed Spence. Oh, and Basuma's given it away again. And that's happened twice already. Now it comes to Salah, and Spence's wrong side. And Salah's in. And he's hit the bar. Terrible from Basuma. And then I have to say, and this is a commonality with Spurs at the moment, when opposition players get into the box, we don't tackle hard enough. We're too afraid of giving away penalties, and they all go light into the tackle, and they let Salah come around. And in the end, actually, Basuma is probably the reason it hit the bar, because he just got his body in the way. And Liverpool have the ball back again. They're outplaying us here, and they're in down the left again with Gakpo, who's already got to the byline a second ago. This time he goes inside, plays it to Robertson. Oh, and Robertson plays a horrible cross that goes all the way through to Trent. And Trent, I'm sure, will try and cross it in early here. Spence manages to stop the cross, and that's a corner. The danger we have is that Liverpool are going to make so many chances from open play. We need to make sure we're strong from set pieces. Very rare that you see Salah taking one on with his right foot. Please do give this video a like, guys, if you haven't already, and subscribe to both Chris's YouTube channel at Chris Callen and mine at Barnaby Slater _. Here comes the corner. It's an in-swinger from Andy Robertson. It's deep, and it's cleared at the front post by Solanke. And Szoboszlai goes backwards with the second ball. Liverpool doing whatever they can to keep the ball. Now they go for the big early diag, and it's on over Archie Gray's head. But Gray, in a good position, heads it out to Kulusevski, who turns. And he's looking for an option. And he finds Sarr, who's got his body in a good position. He was fouled, and well done, Spurs here. Now Maddison looking for something early to Son, in behind. Oh, and Son has done well here, and he's fouled. And the ref hasn't given it. Szoboszlai fouled him about 3 times there. And now Liverpool are in. Liverpool are in behind. Diaz has found it, and Gakpo's going to be on the left. It's a big chance. Oh, and Archie Gray has done unbelievably, and it had to be offside anyway. Wow. An unbelievable clearance at the near post from Archie Gray. It looked like all he could do was put it into his own net. Anyway, Son was basically in on the left, and he gets the touch. Ugh, and he was fouled. Oh, God. And of course, Mike Dean has said it's not a foul. Maddison does well in midfield here. Turns away. And in the end, he goes back to Gray. But that was unbelievable from Archie Gray, I have to say. Unbelievable. The ball came across from Robertson, and it was right under his bar and right in front of Mohamed Salah, and he managed to sweep it out for what would have been a corner, but it was actually offside anyway. Basuma plays a good ball out to Madders, and Sonny has Solanke running ahead of him, and Kulusevski narrow, and Sonny plays in Kulusevski, who tries to find Solanke but couldn't. And don't forget, Solanke is, of course, playing against his old team here, as Liverpool play another one over the top. They're constantly trying to do that, and Archie Gray plays it back to Forster, who has to find an easy ball here, Fraser Forster. And he does, and he's brave. And Sarr was free in the middle, and he does well. And Sarr gives it to Biss, who gives it back to Sarr, who plays Maddison on the left, who's doubling up with Sonny on the left-hand side here. And Sonny tries to beat Trent, but it's a heavy touch. And Gomez helps him out. Now Madders needs to work back a little bit because there's a lot of space for McAllister in central midfield here. 21 minutes gone. A lot happening in this game. Diaz taking up some really good positions in the pocket in between the kind of midfield and Liverpool's front men. Spurs with their four-man box trying to just stop those passes from going through to him. Gakpo now on the left again, coming inside. He's a good player, Gakpo. Really reminds me of a kind of taller version of Dele Alli, the kind of late runs he makes into the box and the finishing power. But Trent here with an early cross. Too easy, and it's a goal. Diaz. Too easy. As if you let Trent Alexander-Arnold cross it like that. Can only hope it's offside, but I'm sure it's not. All I can hope is that the 18-yard line defending happened and that Diaz ran too early. But as if you let Trent... One of our problems is not stopping crosses at source. Yeah, Spurs are really, really high. And Diaz just makes it... Oh, he's miles onside. But you don't let the best crosser in the game have an absolute free cross. It's completely ridiculous. Like, it's just naive beyond belief. It's like letting David Beckham have a free cross back in the day. And he just puts it perfectly on Diaz's head. He's got a free header from 7 yards out. 1-0. And it's been coming, to be frank. Now, Spurs are going to have to, see what they can do from going one down. Good ball there from Dragshin. Tell you what, Spurs are going to make a chance here. And Solanke was in down the right-hand channel, and Joe Gomez does really well to block it for a corner. Oh, and they've taken the corner quickly. Kulusevski now running into the box. But he wants to have a dig here, Decky. And he does. Oh, just wide. Couldn't wrap his... Yeah, he's trying to do a classic Decky into the far top corner. He couldn't wrap his left foot round it. It's actually well wide in the end. It's a bit of a worry, this, because there are lots of goals in this for Liverpool. They're just going quite route one, early crosses where they can. And it's working. Especially as, I think Slot will have said, look, Spurs do not try and stop the crosses at source. And therefore get the ball to Trent in that kind of area, 10, 15 yards inside the opposition half. He can have a free cross. Just make your run late and you'll score. and it was Diaz, but I'm sure Gakpo will be there or thereabouts sometimes in this game as well on that from that left-hand side coming in. There we go. Liverpool play the ball over the top into the left-hand side, and they're in down the left here with Gakpo, running at Dragusin and Porro. It's coming narrow now, and it comes all the way across to Trent, and it's a bad pass, actually, and that's a bit fortunate for Spurs, and it goes off for a throw-in. Spence throws it to Gray, who goes back to Spence. Not blessed with options here, so Gray has to go long down the line. Solanke beaten to it by Gomez, and it comes to Trent, who plays it first time, and it comes back to Diaz. It's going to have another shot, and that's a great save down to his right from Forster. Deary me. Basuma losing out there. That's a throw into Liverpool. In this calendar year, Spurs have gone 1 down in 14 of 18 home games. That's too many, isn't it? But it's a bit different in this game. Liverpool are class, but it is quite easy for them, I have to say. But you know, that's what happens. We're going toe to toe with them. Anyway, Trent plays it down the line, and Salah is running at Archie Gray now. Jed Spence is trying to help him out, and that should be a goal kick, and it is. Archie Gray did really well. I don't blame either of the centre halves for that goal, by the way, because it's got to be a cross that's stopped at source. As Jed Spence plays it down the line to, beautiful ball from Madders into Sonny. Now, for once, though, when Sonny gets the ball, Spurs do not have loads of players running forward. Sarr does well there to nick the ball, as it looked like Spurs might lose it. Spurs being a little bit in midfield, just a little less sure of themselves than usual, I have to say. Anyway, Porro into Kulusevski. Has to go back to Porro. Spurs kind of slowing the game down now. But Dragusin tries a ball over the top, and Madders has made that run, and it wasn't, tell you what, it just wasn't a perfect pass. That's the difference between Radu Dragusin on the ball from deep and Trent Alexander-Arnold, because Madders had made a deep run, and if he'd been able to have a little less on the pass, he would have been in on goal. But anyway, now Liverpool have the ball down the left again. 27 minutes gone here. Oh, Maddison just got the ball there, and he's had a foul given against him in midfield. I thought the ref might book him, but he didn't. Let's see here on the slide. He got the ball. I guess the ref might suggest it's a scissor challenge, but not for me, really. He got the ball. Especially considering the one he didn't give against, for Son. Anyway, Robertson's going to see Liverpool then. They don't try and do anything too clever. When they get a chance to get it in the box, they're just going to put it in the box. Robertson's going to have a cross at this one. Gakpo's in there. Van Dijk's in there. Spurs keeping their line high. About 20 yards out, actually. Not even just on the 18-yard box. And I have to say, the atmosphere at the Tottenham Stadium is pretty quiet at the moment. Salah's making a late run in, as is Gomez. And here it comes. And Dragusin clears it well. He really loves getting on the end of headers. It's going to be a free shot from outside the box. Too easy here for Liverpool. Too easy. They had a free cross from Salah, who's completely free. Anyway, they still got it in the box somehow. Spurs cleared the first one. And they've got another cross into the back post. Robertson cleared again by Solanke. It's like the Alamo here. Liverpool just lining up. They're in down the left again. The crowd are getting a little bit restless here. Chance at the near post, well defended. Porro then beats his man and then dinks it over the top to Deki Kulusevski for the transition, but it's out for throw-in. Deary me. To allow Salah so much time in the box. So Dragusin cleared the first one from the free kick. Then Liverpool kind of get it back in, and Spurs just let Salah totally free in the right half space in the box. And then in the end, it's Dragusin and Solanke who clear it. Dragusin has actually kicked his mate in the head there. And Alisson's just gone long first time, and that's offside, thankfully. They're not afraid to just play it long, this Liverpool team. Need the Spurs fans and the Spurs players to work off each other here, because it's a little bit one-paced. And I think they're a little bit in awe of this Liverpool team at the moment. Not a huge surprise, I guess, with all the injuries we've got, but can't be like this the whole game. And they're just going backwards a bit here, Spurs. Anyway, Archie Gray finds Jed Spence, who finds Madders, plays it into Sonny, and Solanke picks it up off Sonny. Solanke does well, and the ball comes to Sonny, into Solanke again, who keeps it really well here, but he was offside. Spurs being perhaps a little bit too intricate in that little left-hand section of the pitch when we're going forward. Liverpool defending it pretty well. You can hear the Liverpool fans giving it their usual ole, ole, ole. It's a free kick for Liverpool just outside their own box. Gomez goes to Gravenberch, back to Gomez. And this is easily played through the press by Liverpool there. And Basuma had to take a yellow card there, and he didn't. And as a result, Liverpool are driving at our back line. This will be so frustrating if they score from this. But Pape Matar does brilliantly, and that should be a booking. And is a booking. Pape Matar did beautifully there. Gakpo it was who was booked there. Half an hour gone. I have to say at this point, I'd be pretty happy if Spurs could find a way to go in just 1-0 down. Anyway, ball comes over Trent's head. He wins the header. Maddison tries to pick up the second one. Shots so far, 10 to Liverpool, 2 to Spurs. 23 touches Liverpool in the opposition box, only 4 to Spurs. So Liverpool have been bang on top of this game. Spence throws it down the line to Madders. He's in a tight spot here. Spence wins a throw-in. Well done. Spurs are just a little bit... I think Ange will be frustrated. I mean, yeah, do you know what? I just heard the word from the commentator, admiration. Spurs are showing too much admiration to this Liverpool side at the moment. That is a throw-in to Liverpool, unfortunately. And Spence hasn't seen that. You need to get in position here, Jed. Jed, you need to get in position, and he hasn't. And as a result, well blocked there by Deki Kulusevski. Basuma wins it. Don't lose it. That's well done, Sonny. Basuma now. Oh, Basuma wins a throw-in. Liverpool playing their highlight. I mean, that's the thing with Liverpool. Not only have they got so many options going forward, but their back line is just, you know, Van Dijk is back to his absolute top form. Anyway, Jed Spence with the throw. Spence being forced backwards here. Goes to Archie Gray, who has to go to Fraser Forster. Dragoshin is offering Forster an option. Forster's not being pressed at the moment. Dragoshin now has the ball. And neither Sarr nor Basuma really moving, but Sarr has now moved for him. Diaz covered that run. It's gone back to Dragoshin. And now Drag is going to go long over the top. But that's just a mindless ball, really, because Son being challenged by Joe Gomez, who's much bigger than him. But Dragoshin helps him out, and that's foul against Deki Kulusevski, who's looking to make the free kick fast. And Sonny is in. Sonny is in. Why has the ref called that back? Why has the ref called that back? Well, the ball wasn't rolling. Deary me, referee is a disgrace. Now Liverpool have the ball down the right. It's so easy for them. Ball's coming back to Trent. Robertson. Now Diaz on the right, facing up Jed Spence. Pushes him backwards. Oh, and wins the ball well, Jed Spence. Maddison gives it back to him. Spence finds Son, who's in a tight space, but does well to find Sarr. Needs to keep going forward here, Sarr, but doesn't. Goes backward to Dragoshin. Liverpool defended that well. Dragoshin now driving forward about 5 yards. Finds Pedro Porro. Dragoshin makes a secondary run for him, which has opened up some space for Pap Sarr, who tries to play a ball beautifully over to Maddison. Just over his head, but he's keeping it on the left side. Now Gomez is fronting him up, and Gomez does well and keeps the ball on as well. Maddison needed to do better there. Oh, and Liverpool. Oh, just class from Liverpool finding their way out and all the way across to Robertson, who's got so much time. And Kulusevski's not working here to go and help his man out. Sarr and Porro are over there. But fortunately, Liverpool have slowed the move down, and Kulusevski is now back in position. Ball comes out to Trent on the right. Back to Gomez. The fans trying to get behind Spurs now. 35 minutes gone. Beautiful ball through the lines there into Szoboszlai. Liverpool in down the left once again with Gakpo fronting up Porro. Goes backwards for the early cross from Robertson. It's over the top of the Spurs players' heads, and that's 2-0. It's McAllister. Again, another first-time cross. I think it's Gray beaten in the air, and the ball just pops up. And they deserve it. That's why I said I'd be happy to get in at half-time. So Szoboszlai does well there. Liverpool doing well. Get it out to Gakpo. This time he passed it back for the first-time cross from Robertson. And it's Szoboszlai up with the head. And the ball just very unluckily just pops up off Archie Gray's head, who was challenging for the first ball with Jed Spence. And it just falls onto the head of McAllister. Heads it in very easily from, 4 yards out. No chance to keeper. Tottenham 0, Liverpool 2, 36 minutes. And I'm afraid this could be a bit of a rout. And Ange does not look happy on the sidelines. But Spurs have just given them a little bit too much respect here. And yeah, I mean, I guess it's similar to what I've been saying. Whenever Tottenham face adversity, pretty much crumble. And it's as if they've seen this entire game as adversity. They've really kind of been very one-pace, very poor. And Liverpool have found it very easy at the moment. They just win the ball back so simply every time. It's interesting because, like I said, this... I'm sure that, Carragher and Neville and Redknapp will say, this is happening because Spurs are playing a certain way. We're not. We're not controlling this game. We're not going forward. Just loads of space for Liverpool over and over again. They tried to get in down the left there with Robertson again, but it went off for a goal kick. Dragishin now has the ball. Maddison comes deep. That's the first time I've seen him come deep to try and get the ball off his centre half. He rolls away and plays a ball into Sarr, Kulusevski makes a good inside run for him. And Basuma now plays a ball just inside to the inside left to Sonny. It's good. And Solanke's making an early cross. Good ball. And he's given offside for that ball into Son. I don't think he was. Maybe he was. Shouldn't be. He's watching across the line, Son. Has he gone too early? Yeah, he has. He went too early behind Trent Alexander-Arnold there, and he was offside. Very frustrating first half for Spurs here. Very easy for Liverpool. Good win in central midfield from Dragishin, though. Really good. And Son's in again. He's going to have a dig here. Oh, and he just has an arm on his back and hikes it wide. Solanke does well. That was good from Dragishin, though. Actually came all the way deep to... Anyway, Jed Spence now in on the left, but Trent Alexander-Arnold beats him and puts out for throw-in. I have to say at this point, I think the vital thing is not to concede a third. We're in the 39th minute. Not to concede a third before half-time because, we're still in a position where if we can get the next goal, you can get the crowd behind you. But at 3-0... Spence with the free kick. Basuma won a free kick there. Spence found Dragishin in his own halfway line. Finds Spence. He's pressed. Plays the ball around the corner to Porro. Plays it into Kulusevski. Back to Basuma. Back to Porro. Some nice little first-time stuff from Spurs there, but it's all going nowhere. Archie Gray. Bissouma. Les Ferdinand said an interesting thing in punditry before the game about Archie Gray. He said, I just hope he doesn't get on the wrong end of a thumping when he's playing centre-back, because that could be terrible for his confidence and development. Pape Matasar's just broken up a transition from Liverpool there. Plays it into Sonny down the left, but it's a bit behind him. And that shuts it all, slows it all down. Sonny now driving. Finds a good ball into Kulusevski. He tries to play a return ball to Solanke. Finds Son, back to Solanke, but Madders gets it out the way. Tries to find Solanke in the box, but can't. Comes to Sarr. Has a good effort, Sarr. Unfortunately, straight at Alisson. Good stuff from Spurs, though. Oh, Spurs have won the ball up high with Maddison. Big chance for Spurs here. Oh, he should have slipped in. He scored, Madders. Come on. Wow. Great finish from Madders. They're asking for a free kick from VAR, but the ref hasn't given it on the pitch, so hopefully it shouldn't be turned over. This will be interesting. Well, McAllister's on the floor. No, McAllister fell on the floor. They better not turn this over. So the ball comes to McAllister, and he slips over, and there's nothing in that. It's a brilliant finish from Madders. I think if that had been given as a foul on the pitch, it wouldn't be turned over, and therefore it shouldn't be turned over. And it hasn't been. 2-1. That's exactly what Spurs needed. Now keep it like this. Don't give away another. There are so many games against Liverpool where Spurs score late goals and then give a goal straight away. This is an important goal for us to have got just before half-time to get back in the game, get the crowd up, and don't give one away straight away. And now Liverpool are in. Liverpool are in straight away. I said it. I said it. Great block from Jed Spence. And he was offside anyway, or at least the secondary ball was offside. Oh, he was offside from the first. Now the crowd should be so up now. And they're not. The reason they're not up is because they know Liverpool are just better than us. Lovely dummy down the line from Madders. But they need to be the 12th man, and this can be a problem at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium sometimes. Sometimes they just... Oh, and Sarr did really well to pull out of a 50-50 there, because if he'd gone high, boot high, he would have been sent off. Anyway, like I said, 3 minutes till half-time. Really important that Tottenham keep this at 2-1 or better. But like I said, so many games against Liverpool, we score a goal, an important goal, and then we let them up the other end straight away, and it nearly happened. They were in one-on-one again. Oh, Spurs nearly nick it in midfield. And they do nick it in midfield through Kulusevski and Son. And Son plays it inside to Sarr. Now, what can you find, Sarr? No, he has to go the other way. And turn back. Liverpool got bodies in the way. Good ball from Bissouma out to Kulusevski, who's now on the left, weirdly. Has to turn away. Finds Bissouma. Into Sarr. Across to Dragushin, who's got Porro out wide. And Dragushin had nothing on there, and he has to kind of just... And that's because Kulusevski was out of position. And Ange is livid with him. Tell you what, Spurs can get in at half-time, only 2-1 down. You'd count your blessings right now. Don't forget, guys, do get your thoughts and comments into the comments, and I'll go through them at half-time, as well as giving you a kind of minute-by-minute recap of what happened in the first half. Also, please do like this video so we can get it seen by as many Spurs fans as possible, and subscribe to @Chris Cowlin, as well as my channel, which is in the bottom left-hand corner. Liverpool have gone long with the goal kick. Suma, you've got to win that. Oh, he's just... Oh, now he's going to dive in, and that's an important tackle, but goes a bit studs up, and he gets a big pat on the arse from Sonny. Now turn. Don't... He's now doing up his socks, Bissouma. into the 45th minute. Throw in Trent Alexander-Arnold with it. He goes backwards to Gomez. Goes across to Van Dijk. He's looking for the big dink over the top now. Over Porro. And Kulusevski this time is helping out Porro, and it has to go back as a result. 2 minutes added. Liverpool have it again, still with Van Dijk in their own half, and they go back to Alisson. The other worry, of course, for Spurs, Liverpool have so much more strength and depth on the bench. Oh, and Liverpool have played a very difficult ball to Trent, and he has to clear it with his left foot there. Oh, and that's poor, I have to say, from Tottenham, because they have lost the header. They're going to be in here, Liverpool. Salah has found Szoboszlai. 3-1. So poor. So poor. Because in the end, Liverpool played a ball to Trent Alexander-Arnold, nearly went off a throw, so he has to hit it with his left foot, just clearing it. And Dragoshin, I think it was, didn't win the header up against, might even have been against, no, it wasn't Salah, but oh, it's Dragoshin. So poor. And that's what I said. That's what we can't do. Tottenham. Yeah, and Gary Neville says service resumed, and it was just so poor. Literally 2 minutes of added time. Just see it out. Fucking naive. Porro. Liverpool just first to every ball at the moment. Archie Gray. Oh, he plays a lovely ball into Sarr. He plays well into Kulusevski. Turns lovely into Solanke. Plays Maddison. Sonny could be in on the left here, you know. Oh, but Madders plays it in behind him. That's a shame. That's such a shame. That should be half time, I would have thought. And is. So frustrating. So frustrating. We went 2-0 down. Deserved to be 2-0 down. And like I said, got a goal back, undeserved, good finish from Madders. And you just say to yourself, see it out till halftime so you can let the manager get into you and explain to you what's going wrong. And every time we play Liverpool, I can think about the Richarlison equaliser. You know, him ripping his shirt off and then letting Liverpool go and win it the next minute. I can think about another game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium where we scored a goal and straight away, last second of the game, Eric Dyer tries to head it back to Lloris and they score. And it's just so open. Liverpool are going to score 10. Honestly, they might well score 10 in this game because we're going to be fatigued in the second half. We don't have anyone really on the bench apart from Johnson and Bergvall to come on. And they've got a much stronger bench than us. And it's just been too easy. Tottenham Hotspur 1, Liverpool 3. First minute of this game, Spurs did get in down the left. It looked like a good chance as Sonny crossed it for Solanke. He couldn't quite get enough on it. Would have probably been offside anyway. Then in the second minute, as if we weren't worried enough about Fraser Forster, his first chance to kind of kick the ball out, he tries a dink over the top of Salah. Salah just easily chests it down on his, you know, on the corner of the 18-yard box. And thankfully, on the volley, a bounce volley, he hits it into the side netting. That could have been incredibly embarrassing for Fraser Forster. Third minute, I've just written this has been a high-tempo start for Liverpool. They had a shot from Diaz wide in the third minute, and I've made my first note there of how early Liverpool are getting their crosses in. They're doing a lot of laying it back and crossing it in first time because they know that Tottenham will defend on the 18-yard line, and then if Liverpool know that they're going to get the crosses in first time, they make runs from deep, and they beat the offside trap, and we'll see what happens later on. But that was the first time I noticed that in the third minute. 10th minute, amazing ball from Trent Alexander-Arnold and a volley from Salah that was saved by Forster. It was a beautiful dink ball from Trent Alexander-Arnold. First example of how not trying to stop crosses and passes into the box at source. And it came all the way to about 5 yards out. Salah gets a toe on it and Forster saves it. Then there's a follow-up shot that comes on the edge of the box and Pape Matar blocks it brilliantly. But like I said, probably offside anyway. Jed Spence, I have to say, has had a really excellent half. I guess you'd have to say that well, I'll talk about the first goal, and it came from his side. In the 15th minute, Gakpo had a shot over the bar after a huge Trent Alexander-Arnold diagonal ball to Diaz. The ball over the top to Decky is on, though. I've written that a couple of times down in the first half. The ball from kind of Dragusin over the top with Kulusevski getting in behind Robertson has been on. That time in the 15th minute, Kulusevski cut inside and a shot came for Sarr, which was just wide on his left foot. 16th minute, 2 huge blocks from Spence from shots, first with his foot, second with his body. 17th minute, Salah hit the bar. That came from an Yves Bissouma, a horrible pass that he didn't need to try and do anything paradise with, but just gives it straight away from Liverpool to Liverpool. And also just another example of something that's been happening a lot with Spurs recently, which is when opposition players run into the box, we're so afraid of giving away a penalty that we don't tackle strong enough. And we let Mo Salah get in on the right and beat kind of 3 players and get a shot in that hit the top of the bar. That was in the 17th minute. In the end, actually, with Bissouma having kind of created that chance with a bad pass in midfield, he got back and kind of put enough pressure on Salah to make him hit it high. 19th minute, an unbelievable clearance under his own bar from Archie Gray. Szoboszlai, just in the run-up to that, though, Szoboszlai had fouled Son, and Sonny would have been in. He definitely fouled him on the floor, and the referee didn't give it. And from that, Liverpool so nearly scored, but it was Archie Gray who cleared it from under his own bar. Looked like it might have been given as offside anyway. And then in the 22nd minute, Luis Diaz scores the opener for Liverpool, and it was from the right-hand side, a deep cross from Trent Alexander-Arnold. You can't let anyone in the Premier League have free crosses, but the last player you can is Trent Alexander-Arnold. And of course, he just puts it on a sixpence, and Luis Diaz, who makes a deep run from a late deep run, 6 yards out, easy first-time header into the bottom left-hand corner. 23rd minute, straight away, though, Solanke was in down the right-hand side channel. His cross was well blocked, and from the corner, Decky Kulusevski cut inside, tried to kind of whip it into the top left-hand corner, but it was well wide. 25th minute, Diaz had a shot, really good shot from just around the edge of the box, really well saved down to his right from Fraser Forster. In the 28th minute, I've written a note allowing Salah just so much time in the box. Liverpool nearly scored again from that. Bissouma in the 30th minute. Liverpool on a transition. Bissouma had a chance to take a player down on the transition to kind of as a professional foul to make sure there was no chance of him. He didn't. And as a result, Liverpool should maybe have done better. But Pape Matar saved him by intercepting a pass. And Gakpo then fouled him professionally and got a booking just to show exactly what Bissouma should have done. 33rd minute, Sonny was in after a Spurs won a free kick. Kulusevski takes it quickly and Sonny's in over the top. But the ref calls it back for a rolling ball, and it wasn't a rolling ball. Another shocking bit of refereeing. 35th minute, 2-0 Liverpool. First time cross from the left. Archie Gray a bit unlucky. He between him and Jed Spence, they both challenged for the ball in the air. And from that, it kind of pops up easily, and McAllister just follows it up and heads it in from about 5-6 yards. Both headers from Liverpool for their first 2 goals. And no surprise, like I said, Arne Slot has clearly seen Spurs terrible at defending crosses. They don't defend their back post. They're not good at letting players run between their centre-backs with late runs, and that's why they've scored those 2 goals. 38th minute, a shot from Sonny from the inside left, well wide, and that was from some pretty decent defending from Trent Alexander-Arnold, who kind of got an arm on Sonny's back just as he's about to shoot. 40th minute, a good volley from Sarr straight at Alisson after some good play between Solanke and Maddison. Then we got our goal against the run of play, 41st minute. Liverpool were asking for a VAR for a free kick on the ground against McAllister, I think it was. Definitely not a free kick. And Madders, the ball breaks to Madders just outside the box, and he bent it beautifully around 2 Liverpool defenders. No chance for Alisson. And at that point, if you've been watching the watch along with me, I would just said, all that matters now is don't concede another one before half-time, because we've got ourselves back in this game. Possibly shouldn't. And then what do? Last minute of the 2 added minutes. So poor from Spurs. I'm just watching the replay of it now, in fact. Oh, no, I'm watching the replay of the Maddison goal. It's a beautiful finish from Madders. He could have put in Solanke as well, but he didn't. But the Szoboszlai goal to make it a 3-1 in the 47th minute. Very frustrating, because Trent had been put under pressure in the right back position with a pass that nearly went off for a throw in. He keeps it on and then knows he has to just turn and clear it with his left foot. And Dragusin just isn't concentrating. And as a result, he's beaten in the air easily, flicked on. And then Liverpool are about 3-on-2, and all Salah has to do is play it. It's Szoboszlai who beats Dragusin. That should never happen. And Salah is in, running at, it's actually 4-on-2 at one point, running at Archie Gray and Pedro Porro, slips in Szoboszlai, and he just finishes it under an on-rushing Fraser Forster. And all I'd say about Dragishin, who I think is having a good run of games and he's playing well, but that's just a little bit a lack of concentration there. He has to know that the chance is on. Liverpool have been playing long balls all game. I mentioned it. I watched Arne Slot's pre-match press interview, and he was asked about how it will be trying to play through Spurs' press. And he said, yeah, we'll try and play through it, but also over it. And that's exactly what's happening. And Jamie Carragher just saying how Liverpool have absolutely battered Tottenham in that first half. And I'd agree with that. And I'd worry about the second half big time. Let's get into the comments. Charles Preston, thanks, mate, says Barnaby Basuma's not helping the centre-backs at all. No, we don't have a natural six to help them. Lane Onto says, how many goals will we lose by? Randint says, midfield is nowhere. Please, Ange, do something in the dressing room. Sean says, Maddison only gets interested in the final third. I mean, I guess he is playing as the kind of 8-10. I wouldn't say he only gets interested there, but that is kind of his job. Charles again says, Ange, please replace Basuma if you want any chance of a result. Well, who are you replacing him with? What, are you bringing Alfie Dorrington on at centre-back and putting Archie Gray in there? I don't think that's right. Mark Pitts, we're so hit. We so need a goalkeeper in January and get rid of Forster. I don't think Forster, I mean, other than like he did that chip, but he wasn't responsible for any of those goals. I really don't think. Jack Legros says it's just not good enough. The absolute nonsense. We're in a rebuild. The results in 2024 are abysmal. Well, Jack, do you not think we're in a rebuild? I mean, we've had to get rid of an entire squad and replace them with new players. I mean, I think we are in a rebuild. TSOM says this, pipe down with the Ange out rubbish. He's the best we're going to get. Stick with him and support him. I have to say, I agree. I don't know who you think is going to come in and do magic here if we change it. I think look at Manchester United, right? They made the change. They brought in Amorim. And is he creating magic? What I'd say is against Spurs, they looked like Man United. They had a bit more of an idea, a bit more of a style of play. But then today they got beaten at home 3-0 by Bournemouth. So I don't think it's as simple as bringing someone else. Whoever comes in will have 10 injuries as well. What we need to do is find a way to try and stick around those teams in the top half. I'm sorry to say it, but like the top 8, the top half over this Christmas period. Crustacea says same tactics, second half, it'll be 5-1. Charles, like with his fourth message all day, has said Basuma's been jogging the whole game. He never sprints for the ball, never. Well, I have to say, Charles, I disagree. He's put in a couple of challenges where he's sprinted. So I don't think that's necessarily the case. Isle of Wight says, Ange out fans are embarrassing. I can't lie. Graham Jenkins, thanks for your message. He says, I'm so sick of listening to Jamie Carragher talk as if he's the #1 manager in the world. Designed to win Lou says this, the whole team are looking lazy today. Now, I'm going to put that up. I'll tell you why. Because every single time we play at the moment, we are playing with at least a day less rest than everybody else. And it's going to be the same on Boxing Day. Forest played yesterday. We're playing today. It's so, you know, the reason I'm bringing that up is because they look a yard off. That is fair. They do look at least a yard off Liverpool. I would say that Liverpool also benefiting from the fact that they do not have 10 players who would be involved in this game injured. They don't. So, of course, you know, they are far more rhythmical. They know exactly what each other are going to do on the pitch. And Spurs suffering from that today because this team that we're playing isn't as bad as Man United or Southampton. And we're getting a little bit of a lesson today. There's so much space on the pitch for Liverpool. It is difficult. It is naive at times. And we might just have to suck this one up, I'm afraid. It's a difficult one at the moment. Matt Tedesco, here we go. We're exhausted. Our roster is threadbare. We're playing the best team in the league, mostly at full strength. A loss, even a heavy one, is no cause for panic. I agree. However, a heavy one will cause, especially the social media arm of the Tottenham fan base, to panic. The thing that frustrates me about it is, to go back to game management, you know, is this just because I'm, you know, an older Spurs fan than since Ange Postecoglou has been manager? Or I've just seen so many games against Liverpool down the years where we get ourselves back in the game, just like we did with Maddison scoring that goal, and then naively let them back in. Just a silly mistake here or there. And I have to say, to concede that third on the brink of half time, that is what's frustrating me. Because to get that chance to go in 2-1 and let Ange kind of try and tweak something and get into them, that's what's frustrating. Really, really frustrating. Randin says, honestly, a loss now isn't that shocking. I feel an Ange moment, though. What do you mean by that in terms of an Ange moment? Anyway, guys, as ever, thank you so much for supporting and watching the watch along. We've got loads of concurrent viewers at the moment. Really appreciate it. Just to give you the itinerary of what's going to happen once again, I'll be finishing off the second half of this watch along. I'll then do a post-match reaction straight after it. And then I will be speaking to Spurs fans from around the world about their thoughts on this game. And I'm sure there will be some very strong feeling about this game because, you know, at this moment, it could be any kind of score, I fear. And then after that, at 7:30, Chris will be back with the Spurs Chat podcast. And tonight he'll be joined by Ricky Norwood, Darren Altman, and Holly Agombar. So do stay tuned on the Chris Cowlin podcast at about 7:30 for that. But until then, I have to say, we do have to suck it up and watch as, you know, as Spurs will get more and more fatigued. The only thing I can hope for, I'll tell you what, I'll talk about one other thing that I mentioned during the first half. Even when Spurs scored that goal, I turned the volume up on my feed a little bit to hear what the atmosphere was at the ground. And it wasn't like, oh, we're in this. Let's kind of really rally the team up. I think even the Spurs fans were like, yeah, I mean, we're not really in this game. We've scored a goal to get it back at 2-1, but I don't think we're going to get anything out of this. And that's frustrating because you know, we see us go to lots of teams away from home, and the fans, they really want it. They want it against us. And when we had an opportunity to really, you know, in that last kind of 5 minutes, once we scored a goal to get the crowd behind us and also, you know, use the crowd to make sure we don't concede another goal, even if we're not going to score an equalizer, just make sure we don't concede another goal before half time. I don't know. Just frustrating. I don't know. It's difficult. Eugene Kazu says this. At least Arsenal won't be happy about this. I mean, I hate to say it, but yeah, that is a small mercy. Randin says, I think if we pull a draw from this, greatly appreciate if our midfield appears, we may have a chance. Well, that's very positive. Spurs and Liverpool now coming back out onto the pitch. To say I'm not holding out a great deal of hope would be an understatement, I'm afraid. But let's see what Ange has said to them at half-time. Les Ferdinand on co-commentary saying how Ange isn't going to change. But once again, I said in the first half, Spurs are not playing. They're not bossing this game. They're showing Liverpool too much respect. I'm just going to have a quick, just say to G Moore, who I know I'm speaking to after the game. Hi, G, I can see you. You're on a little bit early. I'm not going to be speaking to you guys for about 60 minutes. I don't know if you want to drop off and then come back on after the game. But good to see you, mate, and nice garden. But I'll see you later on. Yeah, just for anyone who wonders what the hell I'm talking about, I will be talking to Spurs fans from around the world just after the game. And G was in the green room, just so keen, probably so angry after that first half, just desperate to speak to me. Anyway, Liverpool kicking off. They go straight back to Alisson. And do you know what? This shows, and I saw it with Iraola as well when we played against Bournemouth. Some managers, not Ange, but not afraid to play the long ball against us. And Liverpool just doing that all the time. Anyway, Sarr's done really well through midfield there. Should have won a free kick, I think, but didn't. The referee's being an absolute prick again. And Bissouma gives away a free kick. What is this referee doing? He's just... So that's interesting. Gary Neville has just said, when James Maddison scored in the crowd, the Tottenham crowd, it was almost celebrated like it was a 95th minute consolation goal. And that's what I just said, isn't it? I lifted, as Liverpool try and get another cross in, I turned up my volume on my feed to hear what the atmosphere was like. And the Spurs fans, they just like, because we're getting so outplayed, they weren't pumped about it. I mean, anyway, Liverpool trying to get in down the left with Gakpo, but just play it off for throw-in. I'm glad he said that because that's what I thought. Yeah, and of course, we got Liverpool over 2 legs in the Carabao Cup with the first leg in 2.5 weeks at the Spurs Stadium. But I'm sure it will be a very different Liverpool side. Horrible ball for Archie Gray to deal with on his own goal line, but he turns well and then plays it to Porro, who loses the ball. But I think the ball had gone off when it hit Gakpo. Yeah, it's a throw into Spurs. Yeah, I'm glad Gary Neville said that because that's what I thought. I don't know. Let me know how you feel in the comments. If you're at the ground and we got a goal back in a game we're 2-0 down to against Liverpool, wouldn't you be completely mega pumped that we're back in the game? Or would you just be like, oh, we're being outplayed here, we don't deserve it? Because that's kind of how the fans reacted. Liverpool just first to every second ball at the moment. Could be a long afternoon. I guess all we can, well, not all we can hope. Let's say Liverpool get the next goals. They play another long ball over the top, and it's easy for Szoboszlai just to take down in front of Dragusin. They play a late cross. They're in at the back stick. Thankfully, it went all the way out. Salah trying to cross it to Gakpo. And Sarr kicks it off. Or actually, Decky kept it in, but Liverpool win it back. You've got to be realistic. You do have to be realistic. This might be the game where the 10 injuries come home to roost. As Alisson, again, just goes straight and long down the middle, but he can't find it past Porro. But Porro just heads it straight back to Robertson. And the fans actually getting frustrated with that. I have to say, at the moment, this is a bit like what it was like when Spurs played Southampton. That's how different the level is. And now Trent Alexander-Arnold down the right finds Salah. And it's blocked by Jed Spence, who's played well, I have to say. And maybe that's no coincidence because he'll be the least tired of all of the Spurs players. Spurs playing some good one-touch stuff, but in such a tight area that the fans are getting frustrated. And in the end, Archie Gray just has to dink it up. Maddison wins a free kick. Just by feeling the touch in his back and falling to the floor, basically. Just Gary Neville complaining there about Tottenham trying to press, but being a bit late to the press, which is kind of true. Anyway, Dragusin. Now the fans trying to get behind them a bit with a chant of "Come on, you Spurs!" But Liverpool pressing Spurs to death at the moment. No, it's impossible for us to get out. Another throw-in for Robertson. He goes back to Van Dijk, who goes first time down the line. They're loving these medium to long-range balls against Spurs, knowing that we're losing most of the second balls. Basuma flicks it on, and now good space for Madders, who heads it first time, and maybe he shouldn't have done. He had time to take it down there. I don't know if he knew about that. But there, Porro intercepts a ball there and plays an early ball to Sonny. He's got a lot of space on the left, in behind Alexander. He's at Alexander-Arnold, but he loses it. But actually bounces to Solanke. And Van Dijk does well. Nothing comes of it. And Van Dijk goes down, actually, there. You don't often see Van Dijk go down. Just looks like an impact injury to me. Van Dijk's limping a bit, but looks like an impact injury. Just the ball broke to Solanke, and as he's trying to turn. Oh, it's just a little bit of knee on knee, actually. That could be painful, that one. Anyway, oh, straight ball from Liverpool over the top, but Jed Spence does well to win it in front of Mo Salah. That was good. If only some more Spurs players would recovery run as well as Jed Spence did there. Anyway, the big long kick from Forster comes to Porro, who goes down the line to Kulusevski, holds it up well and actually turns pretty fortunately, but gets it down, uses his body against McAllister, who fouls him, and the referee, of course, doesn't give it. And now Liverpool are in down the left. Gakpo one-on-one with Pedro Porro. Comes inside. Dragusin does well to get in the way, but it bounces straight to McAllister. Kulusevski working against him. Some of the balloons I can see on the pitch now. Oh, big diag to Mo Salah, who's one-on-one with Jed Spence. Spence does well, and Forster helps him out as well. That's in Forster's arms. Yeah, some of the balloons from the Levy out protest. Let me know in the comments. Have there been any videos about that protest? Did it get big at any point? But yeah, some of those balloons going across the pitch. Spurs just one pace, kind of playing it across the park, not doing much with it. But that's better. Into Basuma, who gets away from a couple of players actually, and he's fouled, and that should be a yellow card. And it is a yellow card for Szoboszlai. But again, that was because Basuma had broken past a couple of players, and the Liverpool player like, well, I'm not letting you get away from me. I'll take my yellow card. And that's something that Basuma didn't do in the first half. And that's where Tottenham need to learn a little bit. We're playing against teams like Liverpool and Arsenal who are just further down the line in terms of their professionalism, knowing how to see out games, etc., etc. As Sarr plays it around the corner to Porro. Well, Porro plays a beautiful ball back to Sarr. And Sarr now breaking forward. But McAllister uses his body on him. And that was too easy. Considering the size of McAllister, that was too easy on Sarr. He wins it too easily. Liverpool just knocking it about at the moment. Maddison trying to press Gravenberch. I have to say that, yeah, the Tottenham press this game has not been great. There's a bit of fatigue going around, to say the least. Oh, Trent just absolutely does Sonny and then plays a ball down the line, but it's well done by Jed Spence. He gives it to Basuma, gives it back to Spence, and Basuma turns away beautifully, and Spurs with Maddison in the little half space here, and he tries to play in Son down the left. Does it stay on the pitch? It's going to go out for either a corner or a throw in. Gomez clears it down the line. And that's very lucky from Liverpool. But Jed Spence wins it back through Maddison with Maddison. And Decky's in on the left. Oh, and Decky tries to beat. That's the thing. Everyone's just a bit slow. And Spurs had a good chance there. But now Liverpool have 4 men breaking forward with Diaz on the left. It's just a bit behind him. They're in. It's Gakpo. And Gray does brilliantly on the line. But it's a goal. Salah. This could end up being absolutely anything. So Kulusevski tried to go narrow down the middle when we had a good opportunity, and they just break easily. And it comes to Gakpo down the left, who's got Diaz outside him. He actually plays a difficult ball, but Diaz gives it back to Gakpo. The run's good. Then he gets the cross in. Gray does well in the middle. It then falls to Szoboszlai. Gray clears it off the line again. And then Salah's totally free. And I have to say, Basuma's not working back hard enough. Sarr's not working back hard enough. They're just jogging. This could end up honestly being 7 or 8-1 or something. And I feel for Archie Gray. Ugh. Liverpool coming forward again. He's got to, I think he's got to bring on another central midfielder, you know, because they're just getting completely overrun. Salah down in and down the right, and Spence does well, turns away from him. Liverpool appealing for a handball, but Basuma brings it out. Spence to Maddison. Maddison tries to play one over the top to Son, but I think Gomez is going to get there first, and does. Oh, God, and then just easily... And they're in down the right here, but Jed Spence is outpacing Mo Salah. Brilliant from Jed Spence. Plays it back to Archie Gray and gets a big round of applause. He's unlucky that Salah scored, actually, Spence, because he didn't deserve that. He's played him really well. All I can hope now, I have to say, is that Liverpool, knowing that they've got so many games around the Christmas period, just kind of slow it down. But I have to say, slowing it down does nothing because they just play a long ball over the top. They're in again. And Szoboszlai was 1-on-1 and had an open goal and hits it wide. And Porro was keeping him on. I fear for Ange if he gets if they concede 10 or something ridiculous. I fear for Ange. I really do. Because you know that with Levy getting chance against him, they're bringing on Bergvall and Johnson here. Passar and Madders. Madders does get taken off every single game, doesn't he? Once again, guys, please do give this video a like. Press subscribe for daily Tottenham content. Chris Cowlin, at Chris Cowlin. And also, if you can handle more content about Spurs at the moment, when we're going to get absolutely pulverized here, as you can see in the bottom left-hand corner, at Barnaby Slater _ is my Tottenham Hotspur channel. And I will be doing transfer videos as well, as Tottenham hopefully trying to rest some of the problems in our squad in January. We need some players. Anyway, Bergvall takes his first touch, gives it back to Dragishin, who turns away, beats his man, and now he's breaking forward. Radu plays it into Bergvall, does well, gives it back to Bissouma, plays a good ball actually out to Jed Spence, who can get forward here. Go on, Jed. Plays it out wide to Sonny. Spence makes another run, but Sonny's going to try and get... Oh, a lovely ball into Decky, who actually makes the mistake, I think, Decky, of trying to go the right side of Virgil van Dijk, who just stands up. But that was lovely football down the left-hand side. Early to Bergvall, this corner, to Son. Bergvall goes again. Is he going to get an early cross in? He tries to dink one out. Just lands on Gomez's head. And then Liverpool straight away trying to break out. And that's a handball. Porro won it, but it looked like a handball to me. Oh, beautiful from Diaz. It went off, thank God. And then he kicks the ball away, and he should get booked for that, but of course he's not. Bissouma. Oh, God, what a horrible pass he just played on the edge of their box. And now Liverpool are in down the right. Salah against Spence down the right. Got to show him the outside, Spencey, and he does well. And so does Archie Gray, cuts out the through ball. And Archie Gray dinks a nice ball into Son. And Bissouma's there if he wants him, but he doesn't. He plays it to Bergvall. And Lucas, a beautiful ball from Lucas. Oh, just ahead of Sonny, unfortunately. Oh, Jed Spence does beautifully to win the ball again. Playing really well. My man of the match by miles. It's going to be quite difficult for Udogie to get back in this side at the moment. Or maybe more realistically against Forest, Porro needs a rest. As Porro tries actually to pass it into the... It's a good pass, actually. But it was cleared. And now Liverpool just have so much space. 3 on 4. Down the middle. Oh, they're in. They're in again, Liverpool. And it's 5. Salah. With half an hour to go. Oh, dear. Oh, God. The problem Ange's got is he came out pretty strong against the pundits after the last game, saying he deserves more respect and that, you know, are you not entertained? The problem is this is more like, are you not embarrassed? And like I said earlier, as Les Ferdinand said earlier, I fear that Archie Gray, he's not put a foot wrong, Archie Gray, but he's not a centre half. And if he's on the, you know, on the other side of an absolute pounding, could be terrible for his development. There's half an hour left and Tottenham are 5-1 down. We're getting into the realms of the 90s now, when I think I remember us losing 7-1 at St James's Park. A few sixes, that's for sure. I can remember a few sixes. Just getting absolutely bossed. Oh, Bergvall's lost the ball there. This could be 6 here. Liverpool in down the left again with Diaz. And Bissouma clears him out of trouble, but then Bissouma finds a way to give it back to Liverpool. And Spurs just trying to pass it out of their own box. It's gallows humor again. I've talked about this before, and Bergvall there just totally takes his man out, but I don't mind that, frankly. All I'd say is this. Mikel Arteta went through all of this shit in the early days. I don't like talking about them lot down the road, but he went through all of this stuff, getting absolutely hammered. But if this turns out to be an 8 or 9, you have to say it's going to be very hard for Ange to get over. I have to agree with some of the comments that were coming at halftime. There is no midfield, and we're just second to every ball. It's a mix of fatigue and injuries and everything. But at the moment, Forster's just had to make an unbelievable save from a Trent shot. Corner. Oh God! It's just one of those. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. Basically. Oh dearie me! Liverpool take the corner. They're thirsty for this. Liverpool, I have to say. Here goes McAllister, dinking one up to the far post. Bergvall's kept them all on. It's going to be 7. No, it's not. In the end, Diaz is shot. Bergvall there, not really knowing his defensive responsibilities, went deeper than the 18-yard line, kept them all on, and Bissouma straight away has given the ball away. He is a fucking prick, Bissouma, sometimes. Bentancur is, of course, fit after is allowed to play after this game, which I guess will be of a benefit. But yeah, Bergvall didn't really know his defensive responsibilities there and went much deeper than everyone else, and as a result, they were in. Anyway, ball over the top to Solanke. Oh, and Allison now taking the piss, just dinking it over Johnson and playing a good ball to Robertson. Good press from Spurs. And a good turn from Decky. Good stuff from Decky. Driving at Liverpool. Chance here for Spurs. And he tried to cross it in the end on his right foot rather than shoot. That's a shame. Cross from Porro. Cleared easily. Comes out to Bergvall. Decent first touch on a bad second ball, but it drops to Bissouma, who finds Decky outside the box, who finds Porro. Tries the early cross, but it's blocked for another corner to Spurs. Last minute Spurs absolutely all over this Liverpool. Yeah, I was just saying, wasn't I? Liverpool just totally thirsty to make this as many goals as possible. Not like when Spurs were at Southampton and just totally dropped off in the second half. That's the worry, really. We could do with Liverpool just trying to kind of make it a training game, but they're not doing that. Anyway, here comes the cross. It's Dragishin, falls to Decky, who turns. He was clipped, but he doesn't go down. Tries another cross, and it breaks to Trent. And Trent, is going to try and find the perfect pass, and he does it. And Diaz is breaking forward at Spurs. Bissouma's working at him, and Spence does well to clear it away from Salah. And Bergvall, beautiful stuff. He's going to be a great player, Bergvall. But he'll also learn from this experience. Plays a good ball into Pedro Porro, who clips it out wide to Decky. And Spurs have 5 men in the box here. Go on, Decky. But he's going to try and shoot, is he? And in the end, he tries an outside the ball. Solanke nearly had a chance there. Son finds Bergvall outside the box. Has to turn away, unfortunately, because Liverpool are narrow and packed. Goes to Gray and gives it back to Bergvall. And now Porro on the right. He's got a chance to get a cross in. Here he goes with the cross, but it's blocked again. And Liverpool so much better at blocking crosses at source than Tottenham were. And Tottenham perhaps wouldn't be 1-0 down that early in the game if they were better at blocking the crosses at source. Porro with the throw into Brennan. Lovely ball through the legs. And here's Decky in the box. Turns well. He's having fun here, Decky. And the ball goes all the way across the box. Arnold puts it out for a corner. In swinging corner from Sonny. Here it comes. Oh, he goes for the... Yeah, and Alisson deals with it well. Basuma with the header, and Bergvall straight back out to Sonny. Alexander-Arnold goes to front him up. He goes byline this time, Sonny, and loses it. And it's given offside anyway. That couple of minutes of Spurs at least having some pressure at least means we haven't conceded for a couple of minutes. But now Liverpool bringing on some of their subs. It's Diogo Jota coming on for Gakpo. He's had a good game, but I mean, easy for him to have a good game. He's had so much space. And Curtis Jones on for McAllister. Go into the comments briefly. Epec20 says Levy won't take much more of this. Sean answers Ange out. Such quitter shameful this nation used to stand. Don't know what that means. Paul Clark, sack this man now. Goal Rush 90. It's not effing Ange. It's the dumbass players. It's Son as well. Alan Drennan, Poster no clue strikes again. This guy is tactically naive and is destroying Spurs. Bergvall working hard there. Good lad. Maybe he should have started Lucas Bergvall again on the basis that, you know, playing Thursday night, Sunday, all of that midfield, they've just been second to every ball. And at least when Bergvall's come on, he's got a bit more sprite about him, a bit more energy about him. Anyway, Alisson tries to dink the ball over, but Spence, with his first bad header of the game, puts Dragusin in trouble. Oof. And now Liverpool play the big one over the top, which they've been doing all game. And Porro tries to head it back to Forster. Actually does well. Thanks to all of you still watching, guys. I'm aware that we're at the fucking moment now where most of you, a lot of you anyway, will probably be opposition fans. Gallows humour at Spurs at the moment. 5-1 down, 20 minutes to go. But we are 5-1 down with 30 minutes to go as we play another good ball down to Brennan Johnson, who's hardly had a kick in this game. He turns away. Gives it inside to Porro. He's got men converging on him. And tries to play the deep one. And Trent Alexander-Arnold just controls it on his chest twice. And then tries to clear it. It's picked up by Bergvall, who finds Gray. I feel sorry for Archie Gray. He's not a centre-back, and he's not done anything wrong, in my opinion. He's had no cover. I think it was Paul who said it at half-time in the comments. He's actually played pretty well. I think Jed Spencer's played pretty well. Dragusin made the mistake for the third goal. Very un-Dragusin-like mistake, actually, which is he usually loves to just plough through the back into a player in an aerial duel. Oh, and Porro's just lost the ball, and Liverpool are in down the left. And Dragusin has to take a yellow card here, and he's not going to as yet. Uses his strength instead. Good lad. Well done, Radu. Wins the ball. Now, don't give it away, Radu. Oh, and he turns away. Archie Gray now just breaking through the middle. Gives it to Bergvall. Gives it to Porro. And again, going down the line here, trying to find Johnson, who tries to flick it to Kulusevski, but Liverpool win it easily. Bergvall picks it up. Into Johnson, has to go back, surely. Tries to find the line, but loses it again. Liverpool just, again, a bit better in these tight little areas. They just look like they've got a lot more energy than Spurs. Sonny, I have to say, looks absolutely shattered. Salah fouled by Basuma there. As Liverpool once again play a long ball over the top, something that Tottenham don't really do. And Basuma goes for the second ball and gets away from Jota. And Sonny's made a run for him, but Gomez covered it, so he went inside to Bergvall. He plays a good ball into Porro in front of him, which is I love to see, but is so rare sometimes from professional footballers that they actually play it into the path of the ongoing player. Anyway, Spurs have brought it back. Gray to Spence. Spence tries to play a difficult ball down the channel into Solanke. It's easily picked off. And then Liverpool try and play Salah in behind Spence, but Spence actually does quite well. To be fair to the Spurs crowd, a lot of them are still there. And Kulusevski in a good spot here. Plays the ball into Solanke, holds it up nicely. He's going to give it back to... Oh, chance for Deki! What a goal! What a goal! What a goal. What a goal. Dinked over the top as Kulusevski made the secondary run and on the volley just plows it home into the middle top corner. Kulusevski into Solanke, holds it up well, and then Solanke just dinks it over Van Dijk, and from 12 yards on the volley, left foot, Decky. I fear that might awaken the 12-minute beast of Liverpool not having scored. But I have to say, since Bergvall has come on, we have looked had a little bit more energy in midfield. Anyway, Liverpool now on the left with Diaz running at Porro. Has to go back into Curtis Jones. Beautiful from Kulusevski and Solanke, though. Imagine if we had all our players. Liverpool just popping it about their back line now. Well done by Jed Spence. Blocks a through ball there. Sonny has to help him out and gives a horrible ball, Sonny, but Archie Gray does well. Archie Gray is a good player. 2-5. Come on, just keep it. Let's get another one or keep it at this, Spurs. Come on. There's Gray and Gray and Dragoshin played amongst themselves, but being pressed hard by Jones and Salah. And the Spurs fans getting behind them now as Archie Gray is being pressed hard and gives a 1-2 to Dragoshin. And that's beautiful football down the right from Spurs. And actually, it came to Kulusevski, who wins a throw-in. And he's going to do it early, I think, to Solanke. But of course, the ref's going to call it back because the ref is a fucking jobs-worth prick who's been doing shit like that all game, except if Liverpool benefit from it. Anyway, Basuma has it. Gives it to Bergvall. Archie Gray. Spence. Yeah, and that's lovely play down the left. And it's Spence down the left. Oh, and actually, it's good defending from Szoboszlai, and that's going to be a corner to Spurs. That's Decky Kulusevski's 5th in 5 games. And it was a beautiful finish. Come on, Spurs. Let's get another one. Why not? Gary Neville starting to laugh on the touchline. He's like, could get in this. I wouldn't bet on it. I'd bet on us conceding again very soon, actually. Just from our trying to attack, probably. Here comes the corner anyway. Whipped in at the near post. Well cleared by Jota, I think it is. He's only about 5'1". Anyway, Son takes the throw in quickly to Bergvall. I think Bergvall has to start the next game. I think it's away at Forest on Boxing Day. He has to start it because it's energy. Oh, I guess Bentancur. But maybe I would start Bentancur with Bergvall, you know, because Sarr looked absolutely knackered as well. Anyway, Archie Gray. And Liverpool have dropped off a little bit. And that's benefiting. I mean, they're playing solely on the transition now, Liverpool, and they will make chances, absolutely. Do give this video a like if you haven't already, guys. And of course, as Dragoshin tries to play a ball over the top, which just 50p's it straight out, and Sonny shouts him. Do subscribe to Chris's channel at Chris Cowlin, and also if you want more daily Tottenham content, and I will be doing daily transfer videos as well during the January window. My YouTube is at Barnaby Slater _ You can see it in the bottom left-hand corner there. Go and find me there. I've just made it past 12,000 subscribers. Thank you so much for your support, guys. I really appreciate it. Jed Spence beats his man there into the ball. He's playing really well. Goes inside. Beautiful from Jed. And then lays it off to Dominic Solanke, who does really well. Oh, and then he tries to play a ball that he shouldn't have really, and Gomez clears it. Good football from Spurs, though. And Archie Gray there beats Jota to the ball. And Spurs need to be a bit stronger in central midfield. But no, instead, Salah is able to play it over the top to Diaz, and the keeper's off his line. This is going to be 6, is it? He tries to dink him. It's over the bar. You can't say it's not fun watching Spurs. 5-2 Liverpool. Still 15 minutes to go. Dragoshin just plays a bizarre ball trying to find Spence. Just kicks it out of play. Spence has been my man of the match by a country mile. I'd probably follow him up with Bergvall, to be honest. Or maybe Solanke's held it up well. And Kulusevski obviously always trying hard. But Tottenham look. And I'm proud of the Spurs fans because they're chanting when the Spurs go marching in. They've all stuck around. This is what we asked for. We hated fucking Mourinho. We hated Nuno. We hated fucking Conte in the end. The play was boring. We wanted to score goals. Well, we're scoring goals, but we're also fucking conceding loads and loads of chances. But that's how it goes at the moment. We need to get our players back. Liverpool just playing through us again, through the lines. They're in down the right. Trent's going to have a free cross, so it goes a bit behind a bit. Here comes the cross. And Gray gets ahead of Salah. Bergvall does well. And then he loses it, unfortunately. Spence gave him a bit of a dodgy ball. Liverpool play it into Salah, into Jota. Oh, but Decky really saw that pass coming, and Decky breaking away here nicely, using his butt. Good strength there from Decky. Johnson needs to make him a more obvious run. Decky's got nothing here, and that's a foul. Oh, the ref gave a foul. Well done, ref, you absolute prick. First one he's given, literally. Liverpool complaining about it. He fouled him about 6 times when Decky was being strong there. And Porro, they're letting Dragusin go through, so they're actually going to try and get a ball into the box here. Don't forget, guys, after this game, I'll do an instant post-match reaction, and then I will be talking to Spurs fans from around the world till about 7:25. And then at 7:30, Chris Cowlin will be back with another episode of the Spurs Chat podcast. So you can get all your views in for the next few hours. Here comes Porro's cross. Flicked on, attempted to flick on by Solanke at the near post, but easily cleared by Liverpool down the line. We put the press on, but Diaz deals with it very simply. And then Liverpool break the press very easily indeed through Gravenberch, who gives it into Robertson, back to Gravenberch. And that is so easy. And Liverpool now have 3 running forward. Diaz on the left, inside to Jota, who is fouled by Bergvall, who will get booked. And he gets booked every time, Bergvall, but I don't mind because he's got a bit of a bite about him. Frankly, Bissouma could learn a bit from Bergvall for going in strong and stopping attacks. That's his second booking of the season. 12 minutes to go. Liverpool just knocking it about now. Diaz back to Jones. To Gomez. They're going to just dink it over the top again. Dragusin does well. It's going to bounce to Jota. Just winning every second ball, Liverpool. But don't worry. Oh, and an easy cross for Trent. Again, not stopping the cross from Trent. And actually, Szoboszlai should have maybe done better with that. Deary me. Spurs popping it back. Good ball from Porro down the line to Decky, who's beaten to the ball by 3 Liverpool players. And now Robertson going down the line, but he plays a difficult ball and Kulusevski works back to get it. Gives it into Bissouma, who just passes it really kindly into Jota. Well done, Bissouma. You've been fucking shit. Now they're in down the right. Trent cuts it back. Oh, and a good save at the near post from Forster. He's played well here, Forster, to be fair. It's okay, though, Spurs, because we got our Squid Games adverts going up. So, bit of money coming in. How about this, Daniel Levy? Don't sack the manager. Buy him 3 brilliant players and pay above the odds for it this January. I doubt it'll happen, but here comes the corner. In swinger, dangerous ball. Cleared at the front from Bergvall. Chance on the edge of the box. Szoboszlai with a second chance. Cleared by Bissouma. Out towards Kulusevski. Enough to use his strength, and he does use his body well. And he's fouled about 6 times, and then he turns his man. He's fouled again, and that should be a booking, and is a booking for Diaz. But again, Liverpool's showing what professional fouls are. Oh, he's not booked? Oh, God, we're bringing on Werner. I guess to save Son. Nine minutes to go. We haven't conceded since the 60th minute, so that's something. We did score since then. Basically, if the game was only played over the last 21 minutes. Spurs winning 1-0. Dragoshin into Archie Gray. Plays a lovely ball into Jed Spence, who took up a good position there. Finds out to Timo. And the crowd get off their feet. And it's almost like an ironic getting off their feet. There was a definite noise from the crowd there, but it was almost like ironic. Here's a cross from Bergvall, but he puts too much height on it, I would have thought. Johnson actually does well to win it. Chance for Slanky. We scored again! Slanky gets a boot in the face, but he scored. Wow. 3-5. Great finish on the half volley. What is going on? So the ball comes to Bergvall and he crosses it, and I thought he put too much on it. But you know what? Up against Robertson, Johnson does really well, heads it into Solanke, finishes beautifully. Oh, now the crowd are getting behind Spurs. Brilliant finish on the half volley. The header from Johnson kind of went over the top of Solanke and on his left foot on the half volley. I have to say, Spurs just literally have no one in midfield now. So Jota just picked up midfield, gives it to Diaz. They're going to score again here, I would have thought. 3-5. He's got the runner outside. Oh, no, he goes for the shot. Good save from Forster. No midfield for Spurs whatsoever at this point. They're picking up all the second balls. Trent with a cross, and it's free at the back post. Jota should do better. It didn't come to the back post. This is hilarious. Spence finds Werner, who takes his man on down the line, and Gomez has to go and help him out. Well done, Timo Werner. Anyway, it's Tottenham 3, Liverpool 5. Just another Premier League game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Dragoshin. Bergvall, who has done well since he's come on. I guess those of you who are young would call that a pre-assist. And a good assist for Johnson, to be fair. Used his strength. Jed Spence. There's 6 minutes left. It would be hilarious if we got another one. Archie Gray. The fans are kind of enjoying this now, like Christmas cheer. And they're singing the Ange Postecoglou name. Decky has not stopped. And Solanke, oh, I'll tell you what, Porro just tried to play a ball into Solanke, and if that had come off, it'd be great. But instead, Liverpool break, and their passing is so much better. And Jota is in down the left, but Bergvall working his nuts off, which is something we didn't see from Sarr and Bassoum. And the ball comes across to Salah, and Diaz is in, and they've scored. Obviously! I told you they'd score again. So basically, the Spurs just pressing hard all over the pitch, and as a result, the ball came to Diaz on the left. He lays it out to Jota. And then Diaz just continues his run. Szoboszlai and Diaz follows his run. And Archie Gray, Jed Spence, and Lucas Bergvall are all a bit deep. Keep him on side. Salah plays him in easily, and he finishes beautifully. Bottom left-hand corner. No chance. Forster. Tottenham Hotspur 3, Liverpool 6. This is like one of those, back in the day, you sometimes see, around Christmas time, right? You see these bits of old newspaper footage from back in the day, which was like the Boxing Day fixtures, and some of the games were like 10-4. And there were like 60 goals in the first division on that day. Salah and Diaz coming off now. Let's not let this be 7 now. Come on. Anyway, Spurs have started again. Out to Werner, who's taking his man on. He does his man, in down the left. Go on, how's your cross, Timo? He's going to try and do his man again, I think. Oh, he tries the right foot across. Oh, coming towards Decky. Flicks it on nicely. Oh, then Johnson tries to find Porro. Spurs still just working hard to try and make chances. And nice ball there from Porro into Decky, who gets the return, Pedro Porro, but takes a bad touch into Solanke. Into Johnson, good chance. Oh, and there's a huge save from Allison. Oh. Spence now into Werner. Spence goes for the return, but he's got men around him. Oh. So this is what happens. Comes to Johnson. First time. It's in his area there. Great effort. Well saved down to his right from Allison. Here comes Decky, still running at the defence everywhere. Gets a cross in and Van Dijk clears it. It's a corner to Spurs. Kulusevski takes it quickly to Bergvall. Porro now, but instead goes to Bergvall. Good chance for a cross here for Lucas. Or too much on it. Is it? No, chance of the back post for Dragishin, but it just goes over him in the end. Timo picks it up. Got Liverpool men around him, so he gets an early cross in. Oh, and it comes out to Liverpool now. No, they lose it. Bergvall now is in. Go on and give it to Porro. Oh, and then he plays a horrible ball to Porro and it goes straight out. That's a shame. That's a shame. Yeah, the commentator just saying how Spurs are playing as if they think it's still on. Oh, guys, please do give this video a like if you haven't already. Press subscribe on Chris Cowlin's channel and also give me a subscribe at Barnaby Slater _ for daily Tottenham and transfer content. Gallows humour here as Spurs have just let Gravenberch run straight through the centre of midfield and now Liverpool are in down the left. It's 6-3, but will it be about to be 7-3? Darwin Núñez, he wants a goal. Here we go. No. And it's well defended by Dragishin. Goes off for a corner. Oh, and the ref says it hasn't gone off for a corner, but it definitely did. Anyway, Spurs have to clear it eventually. 88th minute. Please, ref, don't give like 6 minutes added time here. Tottenham have to learn from this for the first leg of the Carabao Cup semi-final, although I do not think Liverpool will play such a strong team. Liverpool now just slowing it down in central midfield. I think they might be a bit relieved because when it got to 5-3, they probably got a little bit scared. And again, they go for the long ball over the top, and it's so easy. Szoboszlai in down the left-hand side, and he gets an early cross in. And it goes all the way over to Harvey Elliott. He's up against Timo Werner. Werner does make him go backwards. Into Jota. To Trent. And now Liverpool just knocking it about slowly. Hardly any Spurs fans have left, you know. That's good credit to them. Liverpool kick the ball off the pitch. Oh dear, Basuma. And now the Levy chant. The Kulusevski and Levy chant comes out. It's not massively loud at this point, I have to say. Spurs still have the ball with Archie Gray. And there's an extra 5 minutes. Don't know where the refs found that, to be totally honest, but there you go. Fraser Forster. Into Archie Gray. Into Basuma, who you would think will get a rest in the next game with Bentancur coming back. Dragishin trying one over the top, but Liverpool dealing with anything over the top so much easier than Spurs have. Kulusevski finds Bergvall, but he's knocked off the ball. Spurs win the second ball for once. Porro. Oh, really fires it at Bergvall. Bounces off his knee. I tell you what, Bergvall's already been booked. He needs to be careful there. Oh, Spurs won it high with Jed Spence. Turns away to Archie Gray. Don't forget, guys, I'll be doing an instant match reaction after this game. And then after that, I'll be talking to Spurs fans from around the world. That should be interesting. And then at 7:30, Chris will be here with the Spurs Chat podcast. As Dragoshin tries to play one over the top to Johnson, who's in space here. It's hardly anyone in the box, though. Tries to cut it back towards Solanke, but it's easily dealt with by Liverpool, who hack it clear. Basuma is just in and around his centre halves now, basically. Which Forster goes for a dink into Werner, whose touch is heavy and his pass is awful, and lose the ball to Liverpool again. Gary Neville and Mike Dean, the ex-referee, are having a bit of a scrap on commentary about the fact that Lucas Boval wasn't given a second booking for a stupid foul just a second ago. And Spurs win the ball back. Oh, lovely touch from Bergfall. Well played, Lucas, and plays it into Porro. He's got to give it, and he doesn't. And Nunes tracked back well, won it off him. Liverpool still looking like they've got the energy, to be honest. 6-3 at the moment. Just the 6-3 at the moment, guys. Liverpool now with Robertson still driving forward. Plays it into Nunes. He's going to have to bring this back, I would have thought. Yeah, and he does. To Szoboszlai. Into Robertson. They're just knocking it about pretty easily now. Just a minute and a half left. Looks likely that Spurs will concede only 6. At the most 7. So that's good. And in the end, you know, only three off our goal difference overall. So that's something. Porro wins the ball back. Well done. Kulusevski helps him out. So Johnson tries to play it back to Porro. It's a poor ball. And now Liverpool with the freedom of the central midfield. Plays it into Jota Gravenberch. And now they're in down the left again. Szoboszlai. This could be the 7th here as he fronts up Dragoshin outside of the boot. And actually Archie Gray does brilliantly to head that out for a corner. Just 30 seconds or so left now. Tottenham 3, Liverpool 6. And of course, a lot of the post-matchery will be about how you can't play like this in the Premier League. Liverpool are offside. Arnie Slot giving himself a round of applause and high fives with his mates on the bench. And that is the end of the game. That is the end of the match, and it has finished. Tottenham Hotspur 3, Liverpool 6. This is my instant match reaction to that, and I have to start by kind of just laughing. If you don't laugh, you'll cry. We were absolutely outplayed from minute 1. I have to mention it. I'm sorry, but we have 10 injuries, and this is the game where that came home to roost. We played against a team who have hardly any injuries whatsoever, and they've been playing together all season. They are top of the league, and rightly so. They've got rhythm. They know exactly what each other are going to do, and we just could not get near them from minute 1, and there was just an unbelievable amount of space in central midfield for Liverpool throughout that game, and they were completely clinical. And we've played against a number of teams this season who have had chance after chance after chance against us, and they've not been clinical enough. But this team really were. In fact, I think before this game, Spurs had only lost games this season by 1 goal. And frankly, we could have lost today by about 8 or 9 goals. And we're fortunate we didn't. We had a little comeback in the second half. We were 5-1 down at 60 minutes. And then we got it back to 5-3. But even throughout it, I don't think any Spurs fan ever thought that we were in that game. And really, it's a difficult one because, it is, there's going to be a lot of people calling for Ange's head. Of course there is, because we've been, heavily beaten at home, and it could look quite embarrassing. But also there is something in terms of for me, in terms of the long term, and in terms of this is the way we want to play, to still duke it out and go head to head with this team and see what we can do, there is something honorable about it. But maybe also I can totally understand how a lot of people would say how naive it is. And of course, we will get the Neville Redknapp, the Gary Neville and Jamie Redknapp pairing flying in on Spurs and saying how you can't do it. Well, I would argue Tottenham didn't try and outplay Liverpool today. Tottenham didn't have all the possession and just go gung-ho. They just don't have the tools in central midfield to deal with a team like Liverpool. And then on top of that, just the fatigue level. Like, Liverpool were 15 to 20% more energetic throughout the entire game, in my opinion. And that does make a difference. I'm not making excuses. Look, we were poor and we made some terrible decisions. For me, and I'll go into kind of the minute by minute, but for me, the worst thing we did was having given ourselves a chance just before halftime with a brilliant finish from James Maddison to make it only 2-1, when really Liverpool could have been out of sight already at that point. That's where game management comes into it. Then you're like, okay, I've got 3 minutes before halftime. Just make sure you don't concede another one. And then, of course, we concede another one. Just like we do against Liverpool every time we play them. We get ourselves back in a game, or we equalize in the last minute, and then we concede another one. We make ourselves look like mugs. And at that point, that's where I think some game management has to come into it. And there's not enough leadership on the pitch, really, for that to happen. And I've seen a few kind of social media clips in the last week or two showing Sonny a bit more of a leader, kind of talking to his players and stuff like that. But for me, I'd like to see at that point Son Heung-min on the pitch, just going to the boys, now 5 minutes, just keep it as it is. Keep it as it is. But Jamie Carragher and Jamie Redknapp and Gary Neville just getting ready. Like, Jamie Carragher is loving this. I can just see from his face, he's loving it. He's going to absolutely get into Spurs, and he wants to get Ange Postecoglou sacked. And last week, he went in on Postecoglou, and Postecoglou came back and said, are you not entertained? And I know Carragher's going to have a go at me. And unfortunately, with a game like Liverpool coming up next at home, and you get absolutely pulverized and it could have been 10, that is not a good look for Ange. So for me personally, I wouldn't get rid of Ange. I don't think any man is going to come in right now, especially with the amount of injuries that Tottenham Hotspur have got, and change anything round straight away. But I can see why people subjectively would say that it's ugly. And especially on a day, I have to say, I'll say this, especially on a day where Bournemouth have gone and won 3-0 at Old Trafford. They turned us over at theirs the other week. And Iraola has a good mix of, playing good football. Reminds me a lot of Pochettino. I've said it before, I'll say it again. A good mix of playing good football, but then when needs be, knowing when to play a longer ball, or getting in a team's face and going kind of just trying to win all the 50-50s and win a game like that, like they did against us at the Vitality Stadium. For me, today against Arne Slot's Liverpool was a perfect example of how it doesn't have to be all one-way. Slot, endlessly today, Liverpool just playing mid to long-range balls over the top of our high line and getting in time and time and time again. And as a result, us being stretched and then not being able to keep the ball if we haven't conceded from that. And with that on top of the fatigue, it was a real lesson today. But I'll go into the minute by minute. Spurs actually in the first minute of the game started okay. Sonny had a chance to cross it for Solanke, and Solanke couldn't quite get on the end of it, but I think it would have been called back for offside anyway. But then in the second minute, maybe a little bit of a warning as to what was to come after what happened in the week for Fraser Forster. Pretty much his first opportunity to get rid of the ball. He tries to dink it over Mo Salah, and Salah just chests it down about 15 yards out and has a volley, which fortunately for us and very fortunately for Fraser Forster went into the side netting. It was a really high-tempo start from Liverpool. They had a shot in the third minute from Luis Diaz wide. They were getting lots of early crosses in first time. We conceded a couple of goals as a result of that. And Tottenham, I have to say, all season and pretty much all the time under Ange Postecoglou, incredibly susceptible to goals from crosses that we do not stop at source. 10th minute, amazing ball from Trent Alexander-Arnold. A volley from Salah saved by Forster well. Follow-up shot brilliantly blocked by Pape Matar Sarr. I've made a note in the 13th minute, and I'll say that for the whole game, I thought Jed Spence played really well. I thought Archie Gray actually did really well, considering he's not a centre-half. I don't think any of that was his fault. Then in the 15th minute, Gakpo had a shot over the bar after a huge Trent Alexander-Arnold dive to Diaz, and that was going on all day. But there was something in the 15th minute that I noticed, which was a long ball that was on for Spurs over the top of the right-hand fullback to let... over the top of Robertson, their left fullback for Deki Kulusevski. And we nearly got in a couple of times in the first half from that. 16th minute, couple of huge blocks from Spence. Salah hit the bar in the 17th minute. Archie Gray with an unbelievable clearance under his own crossbar in the 19th minute. He did a few of those in that game. Then they took the lead. 22nd minute, Diaz, like I said, just let Trent Alexander-Arnold have a free cross, easy header. Solanke got in just after down the right-hand channel, had a cross well blocked, and Decky had a shot from the resulting short corner. But it was really like the Alamo. Diaz, another shot well saved by Forster in the 25th minute. Salah, so much time in the box, 28th minute, nearly another goal then. Bissouma in the 30th minute really disappointed me. A break from Liverpool. Bissouma should have taken the Liverpool player down, taken a yellow card for the team. He didn't. And as a result, Pape Matar had to save him by intercepting and winning a foul off Cody Gakpo. Sonny was in the 33rd minute, but something that I will say, I thought the referee was pretty average today. He let Liverpool get away with a lot of 50-50s, but called Spurs up for all of them. And it's easy for me to say that at 6-3. We didn't lose the game because of that, but I saw that a lot. And Sonny was in, but the referee called the ball back in the 33rd minute for a rolling ball from the free kick, and it just wasn't rolling. 40th minute, Sarr volleyed straight at Alisson after some good play. And then in the 41st minute, like I said, I've missed out. 35th minute, 2-0, first time cross. Gray was beaten in the air. He was up for a header with Jed Spence, and the ball kind of unluckily popped up and McAllister headed it in. But in the 41st minute, we got ourselves back in. It matters with a beautiful finish after winning the ball up high, but we couldn't keep it until half-time. And it was Szoboszlai who scored, who scored in added time after very poor play from Spurs. Liverpool almost gave us a throw-in their own half, pretty deep in their own half. Trent had to just keep it on from a bad pass, and then he just clears it wildly with his left foot. And unfortunately, Radu Dragusin, who I think has been playing well recently, he wasn't on his toes, and he's beaten with a header by, I think, Szoboszlai, and then Salah is in, and all he has to do is slip in his man to the right and put it in. Maybe it wasn't actually Szoboszlai who won the first header. Anyway, into the second half, 47th minute already, Liverpool first to everything again. We're just so fatigued. Salah cross nearly found Gakpo. A yellow card for Szoboszlai for holding back Bissouma in the 51st minute. 4-1 in the 53rd minute. Spurs were going forward, but Liverpool won it and broke. And they're 4-on-2 with a goalmouth scramble. Archie Gray actually cleared the ball off the line twice during that scramble, but in the end, Salah just pops it in. I wrote there, fatigue is real. 55th minute, another note that I think Spence was playing beautifully. 56th minute, just a straight hack down the middle from Liverpool. Szoboszlai's one-on-one, rounded the keeper. Should have scored into an empty net, but put it wide. We were pretty lucky there. 57th minute, Bergvall and Johnson came on for Sarr and Maddison. Sarr looked particularly tired, as did Bissouma all game. Madders, again, taken off pretty early. 58th minute, some good football down the left one as a corner after some good play between Spence and Bissouma. 60th minute was 5-1. So easy on the transition. I've written Salah set up by Szoboszlai, nearly 6 straight away down the left again, but thankfully they didn't score then. Another Trent shot in the 62nd minute. Decky had a chance, tried to get in down the right, tried to cross rather than shoot, but Van Dijk blocked it. Shot from Decky, who was trying everything, and he did try everything throughout the game. In the 66th minute, he had another shot, went out for a corner. 67th, Liverpool showed their strength in depth, brought on Jota and Jones for Gakpo and McAllister, and then came Spurs' little fight back. 71st minute, beautiful goal from Decky Kulusevski. Him and Solanke playing some good stuff down the left, and then Solanke dinks a ball over Van Dijk, and Kulusevski volleyed home, smashed it home, 5-5 for Decky. Straight away, though, Diaz in a one-on-one, the keeper came out and he chipped it over the bar. Bergvall was booked the 78th minute for stopping an attack. I've written good lad. You've got to take your professional fouls, and frankly, he did better at that than Bissouma did. Werner came on for the 81st minute. 82nd minute, we made it 5-3. Solanke with a great finish on the half volley after Bergvall gave a deep high cross. Johnson won the header, and Solanke beautifully finished. But I said it then. I said, maybe you get excited, thought we were only 2 goals away, but we'll definitely concede again. And then in the 84th minute, made it 6-3. Diaz, bottom left-hand corner. But the Spurs fans were chanting Ange's name at that point, so they're kind of enjoying themselves. And after that, it all kind of calmed down. Salah and Diaz went off. And then actually in the very last minute of the game, Archie Gray did really well to head a ball over for a corner that looked like they might make it 7. So a wild, topsy-turvy game at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It will allow the pundits, the journalists, and everyone to get at Spurs. They won't mention the 10 injuries. If they do mention it, they'll say, if you've got 10 injuries, you've got to shut up shop and play 11 men behind the ball. Maybe you do. Maybe you do. Let me know in the comments, though. We'd lose like that as well, wouldn't we? We might not lose 6-3, but we'd lose like that as well, and it wouldn't be in favor of the long-term project. So I do see what Ange is doing. I see where he's coming from, and he's in a difficult hole. He's really in a difficult hole. But for me, just to sum up at the end of my post-match reaction, for me, I would not be sacking Ange at this point. I would be saying to him, we're going to stick with you. We're going to buy you some players in this January so we have a better squad, a stronger first team. And we can open up any team, but we need to get our players back. We need Van de Ven back. We need Romero back. We need Udogie to be back at 100%. Jed Spence, I'm sorry, an absolutely brilliant player. A brilliant player. And he has been the best thing that has come out of this period of injuries, and we will benefit from that in the long term. But we have to be brave here. We have to be patient. And I'm sorry to bring it up again, but Edu, the sporting director of Arsenal, when everyone wanted Mikel Arteta out, he was patient. And look at where they are now. Look at where they are. They are going to be challenging again. And it's a horrible thought because I think they might win it. I hope Liverpool win it. I really do. But they were brave and they stuck with their man. And right now we have to stick by our man. We have 10 injuries. And yes, we're embarrassed a bit today. But that's where we have to be brave. Anyway, guys, that was the end of my post-match reaction from the Liverpool Tottenham 3, Liverpool 6 game. I'm now going to talk to some Spurs fans from around the world, guys. Thank you so much for being patient. I really appreciate it. Let me see if I can try and find someone, because I know we got some people from Australia, so I'll try and get the people who are far away first. Let's have a look. Who have we got here? Apologies. Yes, I think I've got Adrian here. Adrian, 1 second. Can you hear me, mate?
Yes, Barnaby. How are you?
Mate, thank you for staying up. I'm absolutely, conflicted. I'll be honest. I'm conflicted. But Adrian, more importantly, mate, how do you feel?
Well, I got up at 3 a.m. to watch that.
Yeah.
And it's now, I don't know, after 5 a.m. here in Adelaide in South Australia. And it's Christmas time, right?
Yeah. The time of giving presents.
Yeah, and I think it's a time for faith. Faith in what is an extraordinary project we're seeing unfold. It's Shakespearean to some degree.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think it's a tragedy, though. I think it's a very exciting and thrilling ride we're going on as Tottenham supporters. And I'm very proud of my team today. So proud of my team. I'm reminded of some words that Ange Postecoglou said in his first season when he was under a lot of pressure and people wanted to know about a plan B.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, I believe what I believe. I really do, down to my core. I will stand on the highest ground, die a noble death, believing in what I believe. And whether we like this or not, this total commitment to instilling a mindset and a belief in a brand of football that he believes and in his experience will take us to being a team that will challenge every year at the top of the league title.
Yeah.
What alternative do we have?
Yeah.
I'm with you totally, Barnaby. I think the growth that we will get out of what happened in today's game and what happened against United a few days ago will ultimately serve the project so well, so well. And for us who have followed Spurs all these years, we've seen over and over again frustration. We've won one league title in 142 years. What do we have to lose?
We've won 2. We won in 51 and 61.
I beg your pardon. That's right, 2 in 142 years. So we have the opportunity here. I mean, as you've mentioned, Jed Spence was a revelation since he's come into the team. That's the sort of thing that we won't uncover unless we're in the middle of these trials and tribulations. So I just feel we have... And there were we were very unlucky tonight. I say tonight, in the middle of the night here. I did feel that Son was absolutely fouled when he was almost certainly going to find his way through one-on-one in the first half with the keeper. And we were unlucky when we took a quick free kick that sent him through again. So on balance, given the depleted squad we have, I feel that we can take a lot away from today's game, and we're all going to hear about the naive nature of the way we set up and the way we play. I felt at 5-3 we were a chance to equalise, and that's my assessment of it, Barnaby.
Yeah, Adrian. Just to say that, I mean, what I would say is I appreciate your positivity. I do. I have to say, even if Sonny had scored, I think any time we got within two of them, they would have just turned up and scored the other. I'm just going to bring on a comment here from Be Good Now 5. He says this, by the way, if you want to see the main difference between Spurs setup and Liverpool, just take a look at one player, Alexis McAllister. Now, the reason I brought this up is because I think what Be Good Now 5 is saying is he's talking something to do with tactics, something tactically and where McAllister was on the pitch. But the way I would choose to look at that is this. Alexis McAllister cost them £100 million, right? They paid £100 million for Alexis McAllister. Now, Ange Postecoglou, although I will also admit he said I would rather buy two £50 million players than one £100 million player, but he is not having the opportunity to play any £100 million players. In fact, since he's been at Spurs, he had to sell his only £100 million player. He is working off a group of players who are being brought in as part of the rebuild. Now, I also saw a comment, and I think I may even commented on it at halftime. Someone saying this isn't a rebuild anymore. Of course it is. We've had to get rid of the entire squad, and not just like the players who were left over from the Pochettino era, of which only Ben Davis and Sonny are left, but also the ones that were brought in for Nuno, the ones that were brought in for Jose, the ones that were brought in for Conte. Get those wages off the books. Start a new transfer strategy of young, exciting players. Like Archie Gray, who did brilliantly today, like Jed Spence. To give Ange his credit, he's now playing Jed Spence finally, okay? But like Lucas Bergwall, who I think will become a very brilliant player, like Dominic Solanke, who's the only kind of ready-made player that we've actually brought in. So it is the rebuild. And against these teams like Liverpool, where they've had this team kind of building up player by player over 3, 4, 5 years. So the reason I put this one about McAllister is like, I don't think you can talk about Caicedo when we lost at home to Chelsea, or McAllister when we lost against Liverpool, without saying we're just not that kind of club at the moment. Now, for those people who protested outside the ground today against ENIC and Levy, subjectively, I would say I understand why they're protesting when it comes to looking at clubs like Chelsea and clubs like Liverpool spending £100 million on players. And that's frustrating, and the wages that comes with that. But Liverpool haven't spent £1.2 billion on a stadium, and Chelsea haven't either, but also, were taken over for £3 billion in a deal from an oligarch who was cheating the system for many years, and blah, 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 blah. So it's not the same. It's not simple. And Ange is dealing with not only all of that, but 10 injuries on top. So I think it's worth remembering that when everyone is just saying, Ange has got to go, because trust me, you look at, for me, and I'm sorry to take all your time here, Adrian, but I'm ranting a little bit, but look at Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim has gone in at Man United, and a lot of the social media fans of Man United will be like, you got to get rid of Ten Hag. It's all Ten Hag. Get in the new guy. They lost 3-0 at home to Bournemouth today, and they lost 3-0 at home to Bournemouth last season. So it's not as simple as that. You've got to breed a culture. You've got to change the mentality and bring in the rebuild and the plans. And that is where I think Ange is trying to do all that. And that's where I think you and I, Adrian, are probably on the same page, which is like, actually, even in games like this, where you're like, there is always a part of you that thinks, should he really have just shut up shop? But actually, in terms of the long-term project, it will benefit us for him not to have done so.
I'm with you. I mean, and you've also got to look, you've got to ask yourself, what happened at Manchester United when Alex Ferguson went there? Yeah. Well, what happened was they finished 11th in their first season. Then they finished second in their second season. Then they finished 11th in their third season. Then they finished 13th under Alex Ferguson in their fourth season.
Yeah.
So the crowd, the fans and the media all called for Alex Ferguson's sacking in that fourth season. Then they finished sixth in his fifth season. Then they finished second in his sixth season.
Yeah.
And then in his seventh season, they bought Eric Cantona in his seventh season.
And there's no social media back then, Adrian. There's no social media back then. So the noise wasn't as loud. That's the main difference. The noise wasn't as loud, and therefore the noise wasn't as loud around, who was it back then? Martin Edwards was the chairman of Manchester United back then. Look, if Martin Edwards back then had been around, if it had all been happening now, Martin Edwards would be being chanted against by Manchester United's fans. So look, it's different. Look, let's just move on. Let's try and find some positives from this. We mentioned Jed Spence. I feel for Archie Gray. I don't think he put a foot wrong. Can you find any more positives for me, Adrian?
I thought the goals we scored were fantastic. Obviously, Kulusevski stood out, as he has been with his leadership and his just relentless desire to win every contest. Look, as I said to you at Barnaby, it's Christmas time, and we're in the realm of faith here, and we just need to absorb what we're going through at the moment and know that as the side develops and builds resilience and growth with a very young team, we have the opportunity and the makings of ultimately a title-winning team. And of course, there's going to be a transfer market strategy that's going to have to build that squad, as all great teams do. And, I'm one of these people who, is not sitting here calling for the board to be sacked and for the ownership to leave. I mean, the fact is they've taken a particular approach, which is to invest in a stadium and an extraordinary training facility. And I think the fruit will be born from that strategy. And I expect they'll back the manager in the way that the manager wants. And as Andrew said, I don't think it's a guarantee that if you go out and buy £100 million player, that you're going to automatically be guaranteed success. I think we've just got to stick together as a club and be patient. And I think we'll reap the rewards.
Adrian, mate, thank you so much for calling and being so patient. I appreciate it. Can suggest don't read the comments because, frankly, anyone who is trying to find positives at the moment is getting a lot of stick. But there are some people in there also realizing that there's basically no point in the whole hiring and firing stuff every minute. It just doesn't work. But let's speak again after another game, Adrian. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, Barnaby. Merry Christmas.
Bye-bye. And you, mate. Bye-bye. So let's go, I think, to Brazil next with G, because he tried to speak to me at halftime. He was very keen. G, how are you doing, mate?
I'm fine, thanks. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, I can hear you great.
Right. Sorry,
where are you on the Ange out spectrum?
I'm far from it now. I used to be big Ange out, not Ange out, sorry, Levy out. I was big Levy out, but not for the managers. I think we just don't give them time, nowhere near enough time to get done what we want, especially now with this kind of manager. I'm definitely Ange in. We've got no other option. Levy has been so lucky to get this man. He wasn't on his list. He didn't want him, really. I know some people say he was, but look how long it took. We was without a manager for a long time until we managed to finally get hold of him. So I think he just needs to be given the time that he deserves. He hasn't had a transfer window really properly yet. You can't include January's, they're no good. We lost Kane, who literally was our whole team was built around, in a very negative way of style of playing. And now we've got a completely different style of playing, completely new players that we need. And we're playing on the bare bones of it. We are practically like a kit car trying to run in a Grand Prix right now. We've got a fourth Spence out on the unbelievable guy. I love him to bits, by the way. Absolutely love this guy. So enthused by him, really.
Do you know what's brilliant? Can I just in case I forget, G, just want to say what's brilliant about Jed Spence, right, is that he isn't a left back, but he's genuinely, and these are so rare, he's genuinely as good at left back as he is at right back, and that is so rare in football to have that option.
And this is what Ange can do as well. He can play players out of position, even the new kids he's doing it to. I mean, he's our fourth option there. When you take out Udogie, you take out Davies, you take out, what are you going to, what you're left with? Who did we have? I think we even played Regal on there the other week.
He got kicked the other day. Dorrington came on the other day as well.
Yeah, that's it. I mean, come on, what? You got to give this guy some time, and you got to give him the players. What he's doing right now, I'm totally opposite. I know people are going to batter me to bits on the live chat, right? But I'm not that I care anyway. But really, we've got to give this guy time. We've got to give him the resource and everything. And I have a feeling, I don't know if I'm right or wrong. I hope I'm right. I was never really Levy out. I was always Levy out, sorry. But now I think it's not Levy out. It's Levy leave the team alone, leave the squad alone. Get on with the business and leave other people in charge. And I think Ange is doing that. I mean, he was saying about about Gray and how he wanted the players that we've got coming in. So it's down. I think it is more down to him this time than what it was before. You know.
Yeah, G. I just want to say one thing. I'm just watching it. They're just showing a lot of the goals that we conceded today, right? I think if we had Mickey van der Ven on the pitch, so many of them were them coming over the top and where he would have put the afterburners on and covered it.
Where are you going to start? Where are you going to start, Barnaby? With who we should have had playing?
Yeah. And I don't usually
players for crying out loud.
I don't usually talk like that, but actually, I don't really talk like that as if there was one thing. But what I mean is just like Liverpool were very simply just like, oh, we're going to just literally play it over the top, play mid-range balls, and then they had men free. The other thing I want to say though, because you are, like you said, you're very Daniel Levy out, and you said you said that you want Levy to leave the football sideline, which I believe them appointing Scott Munn, that was kind of the plan, right? Exactly. But also with you being kind of Ange in, I wanted to ask you, do you think Daniel Levy will give Ange the time that you want him to give him?
He's got no way out of it. He won't have anyone in, especially this time of the year as well. There's no way. And it just looks bad on him. I think it's got to that stage now where he's got to go all in. He's the last one. He's the last sheriff of the town or whatever. You know, where's he going to go? And it's all going to come down on him anyway. If he's going to get lynched if he gets rid of Ange as well, and then has nothing really to come in that's better. You know, I can't see it.
It was interesting that just before Liverpool scored their final goal to make it 6-3, was it 6-3? Yeah. The fans were chanting the Ange chant. So the home fans are still there.
Too right. I think they're just more having a go at Levy because he's not getting the resources. They don't think he's, but they've got to hold back. They've got to hold on. And we need some fan perspective. We need level-headedness with what's going on. It is a rebuild. We're looking at Liverpool, which could be the Tottenham in 4 years' time. Look at the lineup they've got in their side and that. I'm surprised we even got 3 goals, to be honest. You know, and I'm not a negative person when it comes to Spurs. Spurs, I was with it was Conte and all the rest of it, but this time I think we've got a real chance there, and we don't want to blow it. I get that. I get the protests and all the rest of it, but we've got to be careful that we don't put this all onto Ange rather than, you know, because Levy's not going anywhere. I defy any one of us who had that kind of money and that resources to actually own this club wouldn't get involved with it. We'd be all over it. I'd be picking players and buying this and buying that and doing whatever and making a complete arse of it all. No problem at all, you know. And unfortunately, he has been doing that. He didn't support Poch. Look at this Liverpool team. Remember, this is the remnants of what we played in the Champions League. They persisted and they carried on, and we didn't. And that was Levy's fault. And that's why I was upset with Levy. But I think now I can see that he's kind of changed his way. And I think getting on his back is cool, you know, keeps him alert, but we can't push him too far because otherwise he's just going to revert back into that mold again. And then we're all comfortable and whatever, you know.
Gee, I'm just going to ask you one more question because I've got a lot of people to talk to. Obviously, we need recruitment in January, and you did say at the beginning, it's true, it's very hard to get players in. But what we really need is kind of more players like Solanke, players who can straight away drop in and make a difference. If we were going to get one, what position would it be? Do you have any names off the top of your head?
No, I can't even start there. I think it will be all right. I just trust in Ange just to do with what he's got. We're not going to get anyone in January. We've got the South Korean guy coming in now, so there's kind of a signing. I think he'll make good out of this guy, and I just want to trust what he's doing. You know, I would say I think if we had, it's not just the players we're missing, it's the fatigue in it. You know, remember only 3 games ago, the next 12 games were 3.6 days apart.
Yeah.
How can you run that on this team? They're waste. They're gone. You know, we can't even put Johnson in to fill that area. I'd love to Kulu. You see what happens when Kulu comes into the middle. Do you know what I mean? And when Johnson's there and they can all marry up, it's great. And that's just a sign of just a little tweak. Imagine when we get the rest of it going. You know, Bentancur come back at least or whatever. You know, I can't answer your question who we can get in because I don't think there's a position. I think we need another striker for sure. I think Richarlison's going to go. I think he's done now. Unfortunately, he's lame. He's a lame horse. He's got to be put out to pasture. But I just think it's incredible what these kids are doing. I just want to show the positive side of these kids. We can blurt on about how bad it is. We've just lost a big game. It's all going to be like, oh, sack Ange and blah, blah, blah. But come on, look at what these guys are putting into. Look at what Bray's done today. Look at what Spence is doing right now in front of our eyes. In a few years' time, I really, truly believe these are going to be the stars of like what Liverpool have. They're going to be the next thing. I think I'd even like to see Spence, and I think he could do it. I'd even like to see him run up in Johnson's place. I think he could do it up there as well.
Yeah, maybe.
As a bring on. I might be totally out of order there, but he just seems to be able to put himself around. He was playing in the right back position today as well. I give it up for Spence on that when we went 3-1 down and when it was their third goal. I think we got ahead of ourselves. I really believe that the lads thought we could do it. Spence was in their box when they scored their goal, that third goal. And that's what I think it drew them back, and I think they're going to learn a lot from that. So
okay, brilliant. G, thanks for calling, mate. Let's speak again after another game.
Christmas as well. It's great to be on it. Big follower of yours, by the way. Followed you all around the different sites and that. Love the mate. Very, very balanced and with perspective. So
top man, G, appreciate that. And you,
Spurs guys, come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs, indeed. Okay, next up, I'm going to go to Kate. Kate, thank you for being patient. I appreciate it.
No problem.
How are you feeling after that? Where how do your views differ from the two callers we've had on so far? I guess.
Look, it's kind of, I don't know how I feel because it was just bonkers. To say that we lost 6-3 at home is just bonkers. It's fantastic we managed to get 3 past Liverpool, whose defence is incredible, but to concede 6 at home to anybody is simply not good enough. But look, I just think there's not many teams that are going to go toe-to-toe with Liverpool this year, in my opinion. When they're on fire, they are sensational. But when you take out our 2 centre-backs and a keeper, that's like taking out Raya, Saliba and Gabriel for Arsenal. And there's not many teams that can cope with that. So I think it's quite harsh to judge us too harshly, because it's not an excuse to say that we've got all these injuries. They are key first-team starters that are out, and it showed. This was always going to be Ange's toughest test for me. And like I say, it showed that we just didn't have the personnel today to match Liverpool. They're incredible everywhere, all over that pitch. They're sensational.
Yeah, I'm just going to, sorry, that's wrong. I'm just going to pull this up because this is interesting. TSOM says, have you seen us defend? Why the hell would we be playing more defensively? We're better with a high line and pressing football. So actually, I kind of agree with that. And not only in what I was saying earlier, which is in terms of the project and the long term, but also we watched under Antonio Conte with better players than we have on the pitch now, what we were like defending on our 18-yard box. And it was ugly and boring. And I just think, yes, I would agree with you. Listen, conceding 6 at home is bad. And of course, I don't know what Jamie Redknapp and Jamie Carragher are saying right now, but I can see from their faces that they're back on the trying to get Ange out narrative and what have you. But your point about Saliba and Gabriel and Raya is exactly right. And also, I would go as far as to say, well, look, Man City have completely imploded and lost 6 Premier League games out of the last 8 or something without Rodri. Yeah, and they do spend £100 million on players, and they've spent over £40 million on about 50 players over the last 15 years, and and we're still trying. I think the reason we are still in games actually is probably because we're trying to stick to a way of playing rather than just sinking back. So listen, I get why people are frustrated. I understand, but also it's not as simple as, in my opinion anyway, it's not as simple as you get rid of this manager now, someone else comes in and things are going to change, because they won't.
No, I don't think getting rid of the manager is the right thing to do, because the same people here that are screaming for Ange out will be screaming when we've got to watch Ryan Mason. I think if Ange is going to go, it's got to be when we've got a plan in place, we've got someone ready to take over. I don't want to see Mason in charge of that team. He's part of the failure at the club as far as I'm concerned. As far as the defence side of it goes, I did expect us to do more of a Man City type thing. When we played Man City, you saw the fullbacks, they didn't invert as much. We played more counter-attacking football and we're a bit more defensive. But at the same time, I'm not sure we've even got the personnel to do that. You've got Dragusin, who, he's decent enough, but he's learning all the time. You've got Archie Gray, who's a child. playing in a position that he's not his sort of key position. Porro is so out of form, it's unbelievable. I mean, for me, I think we need to replace Porro in that position and move Porro more forward. I think he's so much better in a more attacking position because he can cross the ball. Udogie's only just come back, so he wasn't an option. I think Spence was, again, one of the shining lights of the game. But I just, people, again, tonight, there's going to be another meltdown. But I just don't think people can understand just how much of an impact it is having those injuries out. Even the likes of Bentancur, who's been playing brilliant since he got the ban, really, just before the ban came into force. He was playing back to his best. We miss him so much. So I think, it's not an excuse. You shouldn't concede 6 at home, but I'm not going to lose my mind over it. I think we've got to be a bit patient, give this guy till the end of the season and see where it takes us. And it was definitely entertaining.
It was. I mean, it was like gallows humor at times. It is. You just have to laugh or you cry. But for me, I don't think there's coincidence that the players who looked the most energetic, certainly for me, were Spence, who obviously has hardly played this season, and then Bergvall when he came on. He just looked. I mean, even like Bergvall and Johnson, I think came on at the same time. But Johnson, even though he came on as a sub, looked spent. Like he hasn't got anything in his legs, and I think they've been overworked because of these injuries. And my big fear is obviously Solanke, who's fast becoming, alongside Kulusevski, my favorite player. If we get an injury to him, we're absolutely buggered. But anyway, look, yes, I agree with you overall, which is, I'm not going to lose my shit about it. And that's why my instinct actually, as I see the comments come in of all the people saying Anjao, is like actually to protect him, because I could really see, especially with like that protest outside the ground today and stuff, I could really see in previous years Levy pulling the trigger. But then, like you said about Ryan Mason, I personally don't have the same feeling about the failure with Ryan Mason. I think he's just a kid trying to learn his way. But also, I agree that there isn't anyone who's going to come in anymore. And I think it was the previous caller who said, look, we've tried everything else now. Now what we have to try is stick with the man, stick with his project. And sure, look, if it comes to the end of the season and we finish 15th and we don't win the League Cup or the FA Cup or the Europa League, then sure. But what I could see happening... Oh, and actually, I wanted to say this earlier, so I'll say it while you're on, Kate, actually. Do you know what I think's really fucking brilliant? That we didn't... that we got Liverpool in the 2-legged semi. Because if we got them in the final, they'd play that first team in the final. And sure, we'd probably be better because hopefully we'll have our players back in March. But they're brilliant. But I think in the 2-legged semi, I think they'll play a reserve line, more of a reserve lineup. And I think that gives us our best chance, actually.
Yeah, I completely agree. I did. Alan Shearer said Spurs should treat today like a bit of a dress rehearsal for the 2 legs of the Carabao Cup, because by then we'll have a lot of our players back. And although I don't agree with that because every game's important, I think it is still going to be a completely different animal when we play them in January. We'll have some of our real good ones back. Bentancur for one will be back because I think our midfield wasn't strong enough today. I thought Madders was good in the first half. I do feel a little bit sorry for Maddison because he's been really creative this season, but he does seem to get hooked quite a lot. Look, like I say, it is what it is. I'm not one of these people that can see no wrong in Ange. He frustrates the hell out of me. Last time I come on here, I was pulling my hair out with him. But I just don't see the benefit in sacking him when there's no plan. This is all we want at Tottenham, a plan, a philosophy to see where we're going. And to just sack him mid-season, for me, would be crazy.
Yeah, and I think we've all seen, not only with Spurs when they've appointed Mason before, but also the amount of times that Man United have sacked a manager in the middle of the season and had to bring in an interim, and it never, ever works.
No.
I completely agree. Listen, Kate, thanks for talking. The perfect match, tell people where to find the perfect match.
Yeah, we're on every day, lunchtimes usually, Premier League predictions and chats and guests. And yeah, there's all sorts going on. But just to say... thank you to you, Barnaby and Chris, for having me on again, and wishing everyone a Merry Christmas. And you, thanks a lot, Kate. Take care, Barnaby. See you later. Bye. Okay, before I get the next person, please do, if you're not already, please do make sure you subscribe to Chris's YouTube channel. That's at Chris Cowlin, for daily Tottenham content, and also for more Spurs content and also transfer content as we get close to the window. My
YouTube handle is just there in the bottom left-hand corner at Barnaby Slater _. Make sure you get the underscore there. Just past 12,000 subscribers, trying to get to 13,000. So help me out. Next up, I'm going to go to Jim. There you are, Jim. How are you doing, mate? Oh, you're on mute, Jim. You're my first muter of the day. Come on, unmute yourself. You can do it. There you go.
You caught me by surprise there. I'm the worst person to have on here, Barnaby, because I enjoyed that game. I enjoyed it. We lost 6-3, but I enjoyed it. I mean, they played some fantastic football, Liverpool.
Yeah, agreed.
Their first 2 goals were fantastic. Look, it is what it is. I've supported this club 55 years. I've seen so many ups and downs. It's one game. If we'd have lost it 1-0, would the fans still be happy? I don't think so.
Agreed.
We lost it 6-3. Then a lot of them won't be happy. We just have to move on from it. It's just one of them games. But we scored 3 goals, 3 good goals as well. So it went 5-3. You know, a little bit of luck goes 5-4. You know, it makes it a bit of a bum wobble for them. So, but look, we've got 10 players out. We've got our 2 main defenders out. It's very, very hard to get our goalkeeper out. You know, he is in a different goalkeeper to Forster. Basuma, I don't think he's right for us. I really don't. He's too in and out for me. Gives the ball away too much.
Agreed.
Oro, I'm beginning to have doubts about him as well. I don't think he's good enough. But Spence is shining.
He might be knackered, Porro. He might be knackered. And I think maybe now Udogi's coming back, hopefully Spence will be able to take some minutes off Porro.
Yeah. But look, Barnaby, at the end of the day, it's 3 points, whatever the score is. We had a bad day today. We've got a lot of our best players out, especially in defence. So, you know, what can we do?
Yeah, I've just seen from Yesh in the comments that Ange was arguing with the reporter in the interview just what he shouldn't be doing. I don't know much about that, but I'll try and find it out.
No, I haven't seen any of that. I'll watch it after.
I haven't seen it either. Jim, so in terms of what's possible this season, realistically, for me, you know, always trying to remain glass half full. For me, it's like I need us to somehow get enough results over the next month, 6 weeks, to hang on the coattails of those in the kind of top 6, top 8, and then hope that when we get the players back around February, March time, don't forget that second leg against Liverpool isn't till the first or second week of February.
Yeah.
So if we can stay in that first leg, which is at home, by the way, and then get the players back for the second leg, then look, I think Liverpool isn't a bad draw. I know it's weird for me to say after we've just been done 6-3, but I think based on the teams they've played in that Carabao Cup so far. So I think Carabao Cup is still a possibility, but for me, it's about trying to stay in the Europa League as long as possible, because it could be just like the dream season that everyone's been talking about, which is, for a couple of years now, fans have been saying, I don't care about the league. I just want us to win a cup. Well, this might be that season. Now, on the flip side of that, I would also say, do I trust us in a big game if things get tight to come through? I have to say at the moment, I don't. But if we can get our players back. But Jim, what do you know? You, like you said, you've been a Spurs fan for a long time. Like, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we're still a top 6 is on. Why not? It's look, we're still thereabouts. You know what? We're 10th or 11th now. But what's the points difference? 4?
I think it's about 5. Yeah.
Yeah, 5. So look, we're not even halfway through the season yet, and a cup is definitely on. We're going to play Liverpool on a 2-leg. Anything can happen. You know, if we get our players back, they might get some an injury or someone be sick. It's important to them. So look, it's still on, and we can definitely go far in the FA Cup, and we're still in the Europa Cup. So why not? You know, you've got to stay positive. What's
the point otherwise?
I can't have all this doom and gloom, Barnaby. You know, we support Spurs. Get behind them. If we have a few bad games, just still stick behind them.
But Jim, don't you think that's because you and I are a bit older, whereas the people, let's say the people who started supporting Spurs when they were kids, when Pochettino came in, right? Let's say that. So 9 years ago, right? So say they started supporting Spurs when they were 9, and they're now 18, right? For those 6 years, and I'm just playing devil's advocate. For those 9 years, they're like, oh, well, Tottenham are a big club. And they, they're building a new stadium, and oh my God, they've got some of the best players in the world. Like they've got Harry Kane, they've got Dele Alli, they've got Christian Eriksen, they've got Moussa Dembele. Oh my God, supporting this team is going to be amazing, right? And then for all of that time, they, nearly trophies with Pochettino, the Champions League final. They're like, but the reality is throughout that time, they're always the 6th best team of those big clubs at best.
Yeah.
So for them, I can subjectively see why they're, and also bear in mind, they're the social media generation, right? So then they're like, bouncing off each other and all getting abused by other social media fans or whatever. For them, I can understand it. But for people like us, who, from my point of view, I started supporting Spurs in 1987. I went through the 90s. So I went through Christian Gross. I went through Alan Sugar getting rid of Terry Venables. I remember the 91 Cup final. And so I had that bit of joy in 91, but it was so bad in the late 90s and the early noughties that I'm still like glass half full, because I'm like, I can't believe we're in the top 6. Do you know what I mean? And it's and it's mental, and it is mental, but that is the difference in the fan base for me, I think.
Yeah, I think a lot with me as well, because I'm older. I'm in my 60s. So because I'm older, I think maybe I don't look at it. It's not life and death to me. It's the team I support. And I go and watch them. I used to have a season ticket, but I live quite away from the ground now. I've been a few times this season. I go and watch them and I enjoy it. And I went to the Ipswich game, but I met up with all my friends there, Brian Daigle.
You picked the wrong game, Jim.
Yeah, I know, but I met up with a lot of the Spurs community, so it made the day. We got to meet a lot of the players after the game, a lot of the legends. So it was a fantastic day. But look, because I think maybe I'm a bit older, I don't take it to heart so much, because I've seen it over the years. I've seen good times and I've seen bad times. And when we have bad times, Barnaby, we always come out of it. We're Tottenham.
Yeah.
We always come out of it and move on to good times. These young supporters will see us win trophies, guaranteed.
I hope so.
They will do. They will do.
Listen, Jim, I've been ranting so long that I realise I haven't got that long left, so I better speak to some other people. But thanks a lot, mate. I'll speak to you after one of the others.
Thank you. Take care. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs. I'm enjoying these chats. I'm going to go to Jim Brentar now, because often I leave him till last. But Jim, I'm afraid I'm going to have to keep it relatively short, because I've got loads of people still to talk to. But anyway, I want to hear your considered opinion on where we're at after what maybe to some was embarrassing, but certainly could have been a lot more embarrassing today.
Well, I went into the game expecting us to lose, because Liverpool is on form. They're playing extremely well. And even if we had Mickey and Christian Romero back and Betancourt and all the people who were out, it still would have been a difficult game. So
True.
My expectations were low to start with. On the other hand, piss poor defense. I mean, we talked about this the last time I was on, if you remember. The basics of defense: block every shot, block every cross, don't allow any passes into dangerous areas.
Yeah.
And we fell down on all 3 of those pretty much. It wasn't so much tactics or strategy, although there were maybe 1 or 2 of the goals that were part of the high line problem. But otherwise, it was just piss poor defense. And I agree that Spence played really well and Gray played really well. Dragusin had one of his worst games that I've seen him play so far, and part of that must be he's getting tired. But
I thought it was more kind of lack of protection for the defense, really, than in midfield. One thing I would say about defense, and I said it during the watch along, is something that we're very poor at is when the opposition get into the box, we're almost always so afraid to give away a penalty that we're not strong enough in the 50-50 challenges, and that needs to change.
I agree with you there, yeah. And but there was some good play too today. I mean, that goal from that little scoop pass from Solanke to Kulusevski, that was a thing of beauty. That was awesome. I want to see more of that. One thing, I know you don't have much time, one thing I want to point out is, I don't know if you noticed that Liverpool at one point sort of went into game management road, and they just kind of sat back and let us have possession. That's when we scored our goals. That's why that game management mode is not always the best thing, and sometimes it's the worst thing. And then they went back to pressing us, and they had more success in stopping.
That's true. Good point, Jim. Jim has raised a good point. Jim, listen, I'll talk to you for more length next time. I appreciate it. Try and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, mate.
Thanks.
Bye-bye. And now I'll come to Remy, another person I usually leave till late. Sorry, Remy. How are you feeling about that one?
Not surprised. I was afraid that we were going to get murdered in that game, and we was. But before that, we were murdered because we don't have that much squad depth to begin with, and with all the injuries that we are experiencing at the moment, it just goes without saying that we will struggle with Premier League's like best team so far.
Yeah.
This season. So it is what it is, and but I would like to say that I still believe in the Postecoglou project, and sacking the manager won't do us any good. For sure.
I agree.
And I hear you say that Jed Spence and Archie Gray was played well. I didn't think Archie Gray. He did the best he could, but I think that the only player that reached his level was Kulusevski.
I mean, Decky Kulusevski's level is so high that I'm never sure. I mean, he's just plays such a high level. I thought, what I think when I was saying that I thought Archie Gray played well, what I mean is I don't blame him for the fact we conceded 6 goals. I don't blame him directly for any of those goals. And bear in mind, he's not even a centre back. I think for who he is and how young he is an incredibly impressive player.
Absolutely, and he's just 18 years old, so you have to remember that. I would like to say I'm excited about this new South Korean guy that's coming in January.
Yeah,
because I don't know anything about him, but I hope that he is signed to play, not just to maintain the level of Asian supporters.
Yeah. I think from my point of view, Remy, with him, I think we have to be very patient because the level of the K-League in South Korea is very poor, and therefore it will be a big step up for him, I think. But he definitely looks, he's a talented boy, and I'm sure the recruitment team, wouldn't have picked him up if he wasn't a talented boy, but it might be a matter. I mean, bear this in mind. Remember, even when Sonny arrived, and Sonny had been in Germany at Leverkusen and Hamburg for years, it still took him a year to properly adapt, and he wanted to leave after the first season, and Spurs fans were saying they didn't think he had it. So I think this boy's just a kid, so it'll probably take a bit more time. Let me just ask you, Remy, before I let you go, what do you think Spurs can take forward into a very difficult Nottingham Forest away game on Boxing Day to try and get a win against them? And they're a team who are in great form, but they are a team who will undoubtedly let us have all of the ball, and they will just try and hit us on the break. So what can we take from that game and the last few games today to go there and hopefully be clinical and get a very difficult victory?
There are so many points with that game since Nuno is the manager. He wants to get the one back at us for sure. I really don't know. There are so much tired legs out there now that I really don't know. But we can go and win that match like 2-0, or we can lose. Like today, I was thinking before the game, we can lose, we can win, we can draw. I don't know. So it's a very, very strange period. Before I let you go, I want to say a shout out to G Moore, who have exchanged Ibiza for Brazil in the winter. That's a good call.
Yeah, G was a great call. Remy, thanks so much. Let's speak again after another game.
All right. Happy holidays.
Cheers, Angie. Bye-bye. Paul, sorry to keep you waiting, Paul. I've only got about 7 minutes left, and I've got a few people to speak to, so we're gonna have to be quick. But how are you feeling as a fellow kind of older Spurs fan? Are you able to find some positives or no?
Absolutely. I'm more positive than negative. And after today, I think at times we showed what we can do despite our lengthy injury list. And we're not just dealing with a very long injury list. We're also now dealing with fatigue with the players that have been playing and picking up the slack for the last few weeks. I think that's there for everybody to see now. Today's result, if I'm honest, not really much of a surprise. The Liverpool are very, very good. They are really good. I'm absolutely Postecoglou in. There's no doubt. Absolutely, it'd be completely regressive if he was to go. It would serve no purpose whatsoever. He has a plan. He's put it in place. He's still working on it with the players that we have. And I think that he knows what players he would like to bring in that will make the plan even better. But that's easier said than done, as regards of, fees for players, are the players available, and so on. So the next couple of weeks will be interesting. I think we can still get a lot out of the season. I think picking and choosing our battles, I think is one of the main things. Like, we all want to see Spurs play Champions League football. Absolutely, that's where we want to be.
Absolutely, yeah.
Getting it through the Premier League, probably not. So you go to the second place where you can get it, which is now the Europa League. And I think when it gets to the knockout stages of that's a competition I think that will suit us down to the ground.
Yeah,
getting a team at home as well, where we know we can beat anybody that comes. I generally do. I honestly think that is the competition that we can win. I really do.
I hope you're right. So I'm just watching. They've just shown on Sky a clip of Ange in his kind of press conference for the written media, and he did start getting very frustrated and saying, I've been very patient with you lot over the last 18 months. You keep telling me I need to change my style, and you think if I suddenly flick a switch and change the style, it's going to make this team any better or any different. And then straight away, Sky have brought on a clip of all the mistakes that Spurs made today, and then they put on a graphic of Tottenham's defending in December and how we're 20th out of 20 in the Premier League for shots faced, touches in the opposition box, etc., etc. For me, again, this is what I would call the kind of Carragher, Neville, Redknapp narrative of it's all Ange's fault when they don't mention the injuries at all, and that frustrates me. But anyway, Paul, listen, all great points from you. I need to speak to a couple more people, so I'll let you go, but I'll speak to you longer next time. Thanks a lot, mate. Cheers, bye. Sorry to cut you off there, Paul, but I'm going to Melvin. Sorry to make you wait, Melvin. What can you add to what our callers have said today? How are you feeling?
Yeah, I'm okay. It's a strange one because we all expected it, but you never want to lose. At the same time, the team is quite young. Archie Gray in the back, Dragusin is not our first choice. We have injuries, but the overall picture is the club still has direction. I mean, we're heading in the direction. We can see where we've improved this season again, rather than last season. Missing Romero and Van de Ven and Vicario makes an absolutely massive difference. Would we have won if we had them on the pitch? Possibly not, but we would have had maybe more of a fight. I mean, conceding 6 is not nice, especially for the fans that went to the game. I mean, if I was going to the game, I would be angry. And
they all stayed, though. They all stayed, and they remained pretty positive. That was impressive, I thought.
Yeah, and I felt the atmosphere was okay. And obviously there was the protest in the beginning of the match, but they all went in and supported the team, which is what I like to see. Am I behind Postecoglou? 100%. I can see where we're going. I can see his picture. I was asking myself when I was waiting, was there anything different he could have done? And truthfully, the answer is no. Was he ever going to do a Jose and play 5 at the back, and try to hold on for the draw? No, because it's not our style. It's not what we do. It's not good for us long term. It could have gotten us a point, but it's not our project at the moment. Our project is to continue this way. Yes, sometimes we're going to have defeats, but in the long run, and when I say long run, I mean 2-3 seasons down the line, we will see the benefit from this.
Melvin, top man, thank you very much for your points. I'm sorry, I've got to let you go, but I really appreciate you calling. Let's speak longer next time. Cheers, mate.
All the best.
Bye-bye. And Steve, sorry to leave you till late, but I just want to say one thing, Steve, before I bring you in. Jamie Carragher, I think, has just made a good point, and I give him some shit, to be honest, Jamie Carragher, but he did just say, I've never been a manager, and Postecoglou has been a success everywhere he's been. But what I'm saying is, if I'm an 18-year-old player playing at centre-back against a forward line of that quality, then I would want some help, and Archie Gray didn't get any help today. And to be honest, I would agree with him on that.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, there's little to add, really, from what other people have already said. I mean, to be totally honest, and I'm also old school, followed Spurs for a long time, I didn't expect anything more than probably losing 4 or 5-1, 5-0, 4 or 5-0, because of the situation we have. The players we have or the players we don't have that we need. and Liverpool on top of their game, and Mo Salah absolutely on fire to boot. It was disappointing, but I like the way we came back. You know, it was when it was 5-3.
Yeah,
maybe when it was 5-3. I think Johnson had a chance that was saved. You know, he didn't put his foot through it. You know, I'm not a big fan of Johnson. I mean, I don't want to pick just anyone out or you know, highlight one particular player, because there were poor performances from 2 or 3 players, as someone's mentioned already. Bissouma was disappointing, and Dragusin, his passing was awry. But I thought, like everyone else, that obviously Spence played extremely well, and Kulu always gives his all. You know, it's a shame a few of the other players don't try quite so hard.
Steve, I'm running really late, so just tell me one last thing. Prediction for the Forest game on Boxing Day. Are we going to have a Merry Christmas?
That's difficult. I think a little bit open. I think we might just squeak that one, something like 3-2. Let's go there.
Top man, Steve. Well, let's try and talk for longer after that. Sorry I've left you so late, mate. And
no worries.
And have a great Christmas day.
Around the world. Yeah.
Top
okay.
Man. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye. Guys, that is the end of the watch along and the post-match reaction. But there is more to come. If you want to rant, if you want to hear people ranting, if you want to hear people's hopefully responsible thoughts as well, Chris Cowlin is going to be here in just 4 minutes' time on his channel. It's a different feed, so make sure you go over for the Spurs Chat podcast. He'll be with Ricky Norwood, Darren Altman, and Holly Agombar. Make sure you go and tune into that. Like I said, just in 4 minutes' time. Also, make sure you subscribe to Chris Cowlin if you're not already, at Chris Cowlin. Also, please do give me a subscribe if you like what I've been saying or how I've been talking to people. Daily Tottenham Hotspur content, and also I will be giving transfer window content every day as well during January. That's at Barnaby Slater _. Thanks so much for watching and listening. I really appreciate it. If you'd like to appear on a future episode as a caller, you can email tottenhamfanchris@gmail.com. And once again, as I said at the beginning, the Spurs Chat podcast is a finalist at the Sports Podcast Awards 2025 in the category of Best Team Podcast. You can vote for it by clicking on the link in the description box below. The closing date for voting is the 13th of January, and the winner is announced on the 30th of January. Listen, guys, it was a difficult game to watch. We will get shit from other fans for that. However, we are Tottenham Hotspur. To dare is to do. We make chances against everyone. We need to get our players back. I think we need to trust in this manager. I really do. That's my personal opinion. I don't think there's anywhere to go elsewhere at this point. And I do think, based on how the fans were chanting for Ange during that game, even when we were getting absolutely dicked, I think if he were to sack the manager now, Levy, he would be in a really dark place, as maybe we all would be. That's just my opinion, though, guys. That's, you know, I totally understand if you don't agree. Most importantly, make sure you go and watch the Spurs Chat podcast in 2 minutes' time on the other feed, but on Chris's channel. And enjoy your Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas. Come on, you Spurs.